4, 3.
All right, let's see, it is Tuesday, September 26th, and I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. We've got 3 members here, and I see Wes on Zoom, so we will do a roll call vote. So just indicate that you're present. Wes. Oh, you're on mute, Wes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on. You're being made a co-host.
You want to do that, or?
Yep, present.
There you are. All right, awesome.
Good.
Now, just so everyone knows, I always do the same circle, then there's no favoritism. It's just the same circle. So we'll do Wes, Priya. Present. Dave.
Present.
Hilbert present. All righty. Let's go right to announcements. So this is a really exciting week. The Liberty Field ribbon cutting ceremony will be Thursday, the 28th from 4 to 6 p.m. We hope to see you there. Super exciting. There will be free ice cream, snacks, water. There'll be a pickleball exhibition. I've never seen pickleball, never played it, never seen it, don't know anything about it. I'm rather looking forward to it. So I hope you'll join all of us there. Sunday, October 8th, the town will host a Diwali festival co-hosted by the Sargent Memorial Library. Last year, the event saw over 1,000 participants, and we expect even more this year. This is a great event to learn more about the culture. All are welcome. Please visit the Sargent Memorial Library website for more information. I didn't go last year. I'm looking forward to that too, so I hope I see you there. The Neshoba Associated Boards of Health is hosting a flu vaccine clinic at Blanchard Memorial School on Wednesday, October 11th at 6 p.m. For more information, please visit the town's webpage. I have no comments about the flu. I do want to do one thing. I want to thank everybody who was involved with the storm that we had a few weeks ago. We did have a select board meeting right after that, and I do feel like we were remiss in not saying thank you to everybody who got out there who, and I'm not just talking public safety, police, fire, DPW, volunteers, neighbors, people out there helping, all of the tree companies that came out, Littleton Electric for getting us back online, Verizon, Comcast. Who am I missing?
I don't know. I think you got it all. But
Yeah, but everyone did a great job. We all got back online, literally and figuratively, pretty quickly. So, so thank you to everybody. Okay, so it is the tradition with select board meetings to open each meeting to invite the public during public input to express their comments or concerns. Now, I have been having somewhat conversational meetings, and I've been told by many people that that's a little uncomfortable, and people would be a little more comfortable with a more rigid and predictable way to manage the meeting. So we are going to go back to the way it was done before. So public input will be the only time during the meeting for public input. Every comment will be limited to 2 minutes. You will not be interrupted. I will not ask you questions or engage, I promise, or Dave will pinch me. We will also be timing it so we can be sure that it's fair for absolutely everybody. This is going to help us get our work done. It also makes sure that people that are here for a specific reason aren't sitting here for hours waiting for their turn. It'll help us stay on track. Now, if you feel you need more than 2 minutes, we encourage you to send an email to the select board. The email address is on the town's website. All members get that. So, as soon as you hit select board, we all get the email. Everybody can read it, have time to process it, take some space if they need it, and respond as needed. If you are asking for a particular person to respond, put that in the email, and then that's up to them. As a reminder, and this is for me, board members cannot comment or engage in discussion on topics not listed on the agenda. So the other thing I will say is if you want to talk about something that's not on the agenda, you can ask to put it on a future agenda, and we'll take it into consideration and hopefully be able to make your dreams come true. We thank you for your understanding. Okay, board and administrator comments and reports. We'll start with Mike.
I just have one thing. I'm going to be going away this weekend to Texas to the ICMA annual conference. That's the International City County Managers Association. And so I'll be away through next Wednesday, returning to work on Thursday. Rajan and of course the board will be able to reach me while I'm away, but Rajan will be in charge here at Town Hall. So that's Monday through Wednesday.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Pizza. Learn good stuff, bring good information back. Have
I
fun.
will.
Any board or committee updates?
I think that there's one thing that I would like to say relative to the last meeting. And I had a discussion with someone on the planning board who pointed out to me that what I could have done at one point in that meeting was to call a point of order. And I didn't. And it will be my goal and expectation that if there's something that's said during the meeting that maybe shouldn't have been said, I will recognize that with a point of order.
I appreciate that. Maria, did you have anything?
No, I attended the RecCom their meeting I think it was last Thursday. And there was a very lively discussion about like how to like schedule the pickleball courts, and the citizens who were involved with the scheduling as well as the committee themselves, like they had a very lively discussion and they all came to a very good consensus. And I think I want to even thank those two citizens. I think their names are Kim and Marissa. They put some of those apps together for people to like schedule for the courts. Again, we are trialing that, as well as I think the RecCom is trialing multiple different options for like scheduling, but like just their initiative to put something together. I want to thank them personally. Yeah.
That's awesome.
On behalf of the board. Thanks.
It's funny, I did meet with Hillary and Megan to talk about the grand opening, and I had no idea how exciting pickleball was.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm very excited to see the exhibition and see what everyone is so into. I have no eye-hand coordination, so I will be playing. Awesome, thank you. Wes, did you have any committee or any updates?
Yeah, so I guess Mark is here, and I just want to apologize to you personally if I offended you by calling you the A word. My intention was not to, like, I don't want to make this as an excuse, but my intention was not to belittle, demean, or use derogatory terms, and I did, and that is, I should be expected to do better, and so I apologize for that. And normally I just want to say like, however, but I don't want to say however, and I'm going to continue and say I can do better. And one of the things that I really want to reiterate is I think that there was a wrongdoing where we don't judge people by the same character to appoint to boards and committees. And that is mainly most of my frustration. And it actually ended up coming out pointed at the wrong person. And so for that, I do apologize.
Thank you.
And that's
everything? Okay.
Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the Citizen Academy, which has been going very well. I attended the first session. I know there are 15 people signed up. There are a couple that weren't there at the first session, but it was lively. There was lots of good information, discussion. I understand the second week went really well back at the library, and they're back on again tomorrow night. I want to give Rajan a chance to give us an update from his perspective since he's running the Citizen Academy program.
Yeah, so tomorrow is actually going to be session 3, which is going to be the land use boards as well as the Department of Land Use and Permitting headed by our county planner. So the first 2 sessions went well. First session kicked off with the select board, BXB-TV, and the town administrator's office, and we had a good group who came out for that. And last week we had our finance team, which included our town accountant and our treasurer collector, as well as members of the finance committee who did a great presentation for the residents there. And then this week, we have a presentation for the land use boards. A lot of people are engaged. They really comment on how educational it is. And the goal of it is to really help people who don't know anything about local government, especially how Boxborough operates, to give them an in-depth dive, but not go too deep. And I think that we're really hitting that mark. And all the residents and who I talked to about this, they say they come out learning something new about Boxborough. So that's the way we want to go, and eventually create a pipeline for new people to get involved in local government as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I attended the first one. It was great. Actually, John, you were there at the first one. I learned something. I'm sorry I missed the second one. I was bummed because that was at the library and I wanted to go to that one. But anyway, great job. Yeah, we're really looking forward to the whole program. That's great. Okay, I'm last.
Oh,
Oh,
can
sorry.
I just
Okay.
say one more thing?
Sure.
Relative to committees, I don't know if if everybody's aware, but Arden Billy is leaving
He
Boxborough.
sold his house.
Right, so he'll be leaving the Steel Farm Advisory Committee. So I just want to kind of recognize him for the work that he's done and thank him for that work. And so.
We're gonna miss him,
Yeah,
definitely.
we're sorry to see him go, but thank you from the town.
Yeah, happy trails. Yeah, definitely. So that also means that we have a vacancy, or we will have a vacancy.
On the board, I believe, yes. I think there are already, maybe there are 2 vacancies.
Two
I'm not sure.
vacancies? Okay, all right, sounds good.
So I did have one more thing, I guess. I just wanted to reiterate to people that while there may be a governmental shutdown, like a federal government, that it doesn't necessarily impact the local level for the short term. What I mean by that is there are some programs where the town, get reimbursed at a certain level or at a certain pace. Typically, I believe it's quarterly, but Mike could probably confirm, or I don't know if you have experience with that, but typically the grants money flows down through the federal to the state, then to us, or not just grants, but other things as well. Mostly the things that may be impacted is a lot of the federal grants. If we're going for any of those, they just get delayed. And so we may see fallout because we may have to move town meeting warrant articles or other things like that, especially in the past for some of those things. But I don't want people, at least in Boxborough, to worry that a federal government shutdown means that town hall is closing.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
And in my experience working in local government, I have not seen federal government shutdown affect municipalities. Generally, you know, they have a shutdown, they figure it out, they've got to, you know, put employees on furlough or whatever. So there's direct impacts at the federal level. Municipal government, all of our buildings are going to stay open, all of our services will continue. And as Wes said, you know, it may impact something further down the line, but it would generally be a lot longer down the line than we would be getting those reimbursements on the federal. So I do not anticipate any local impact as a result of this.
Okay.
And actually, around 2018, 2019, we did have a shutdown and nobody was furloughed on the local level. Operations continued as they normally would.
School, police, fire, public safety, DPW, everything. Okay, great. All right. Anybody else? No. Okay, so I have 2 things. One is that I did sit in on my first building committee meeting. Very, very informative. The agenda focused on police and fire, whether it's, you know, building a new fire station, doing a combined police fire, and then the locations where it makes the most sense to put them. You know, the town is looking at a couple of different areas, one of which is under the control of the housing board, one is privately owned, actually 3 are privately owned. So anyway, just kind of batting ideas around and moving forward to be able to bring a suggestion, you know, to the board for consideration. The other thing is we did fill in the survey that Alex sent out. We did it as a group, you know, as a group project, on what we might like to see in the Campanelli project. And one of the things from the building committee's perspective was, well, there were 2 things. One was a satellite health and safety building with, you know, ambulance, that kind of a thing. If there are going to be a large, you know, concentration of the population on the Campanelli property, it would make sense to have a satellite station. And the other thing we talked about was a recreation community senior center. So something that the entire community could enjoy because they already have some of that infrastructure over there. And would it make sense to have that? There's lots of parking, there's lots of space. It already feels like a park environment. So, you know, again, it's just a survey, you know, it's not a recommendation or anything, but it is what we discussed. So that's that. And then I also want to piggyback on Wes's apology. As I alluded to in announcements, I have a very conversational style of engaging with people, and it got a lot of control. And a lot of what we were saying had been said before in private conversations. And I understand that I kind of got wrapped up in that, and what is said in a private conversation over a table or whatnot is one thing, and what's appropriate to air in public is another. So Mark, I do apologize if I embarrassed you in any way. I got just as emotional because of all the conversations we had had. And it's not an excuse. I'm an elected official. I'm sitting on this side of the table. I will do better. I will do better. And Dave's going to help make sure I do better, even if he has to pinch me. So I hope you'll accept my apology. Okay. Any other board or committee or staff reports? No. Okay. Time for public input. So I know a couple of people have their hands raised. I'm gonna, did you have anything to say since you're here? Well, I'm gonna cleave to the person that got in the car and came here. You get to be first.
Thanks very much. John Markowitz, 71 Patch Hill Road. I know I only have 2 minutes. I want to take a few seconds, though, to compliment Rajan for the Citizens Academy. I attended the first 2 sessions. They were fantastic. Great job. The other reason I'm here is I would like to ask this board to strongly support the recommendations of our town administrator, especially as it relates to the hiring of an assistant town accountant. I've looked at other towns and they have more people in their finance organizations than we do, and they're the same size as we are. There's also a study that was done by the Department of Revenue. I think there was one back from 2010, and there may have been one more recent than that, that recommended, that actually pointed out the fact that we have no redundancy in our accounting and finance team, and that's a problem, and that's a problem that they've pointed out. So I know that Mike has done a fantastic job in researching what we need and what will work. And if we do try to hire a full-time town accountant as a director, a person would come in and say, okay, I'm the director of finance. What am I directing? Okay. Right. And the other thing, I will give some kudos to the existing team, because a while back I was in town hall and I saw Kelly remotely from Florida working with our town assessor and our town tax collector treasurer on a Zoom meeting, discussing issues and solving problems. So it was great to see that kind of teamwork happening. So again, I would like to see this board strongly support Mike in what he's recommending as in hiring an associate town or assistant town accountant as a first step, and then getting to a full-time director later. Thanks.
Perfect.
All right, thank you. Was that exactly 2 minutes?
Yep.
Way to go. Okay, I'm just gonna go in order where I see the hands. Diana Lepari, you are the next one on my screen.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted. I'm going to read this quickly. I'd like to comment about the very concerning procedure and votes which took place at the last select board meeting regarding appointments to the Economic Development Committee, the EDC. There were 3 potential candidates applying, and this board chose to interview and otherwise grill only one of them, Mark Barbadoro, the most qualified, indeed overly qualified candidate presented to the board for this appointment. The questions asked of Mark and the comments made by board members and members of the public were personal and totally inappropriate for an appointment of a volunteer to a town committee. Mark Barbadoro has served for 4 years on the Zoning Board of Appeals. Until recently, he served a 3-year elected term on the Planning Board, including 2 years as its chair. Mark also was on the Planning Board's voting representative to the Water Resources Committee. During that service in these multiple town organizations, Mark never lied or otherwise misrepresented issues or facts to his fellow committee or board members or to members of the public during numerous presentations, rezoning issues at town meeting. Mark never acted unethically regarding any situation or any issue presented to him in his capacity as a town officer. Mark never used his official position inappropriately to affect an issue or advocate for a candidate for town office or any other state or federal offices. Mark never disclosed information he received in his capacity as a town official that was confidential. Mark never put the town at possible financial risk through inappropriate actions or public disclosures or assertions. Mark never disparaged his fellow committee or board members during meetings or otherwise disrupted in any way the business of those committees or boards. And Mark never attended meetings unprepared or uninformed, and he was always ready to do the hard work required. I would submit to you, select board members, that a candidate failing to abide by any of the above conditions would be real grounds for not only non-appointment, but also removal from a committee or board. Instead, the select board decided that Mark's personality, methods of expression, well, we got to 2 minutes. It really should
Sorry,
be.
we've got to cut
Vague
you off.
feelings that he
Sorry.
couldn't get along with other EDC members or that he was manipulating
Diana,
this
you
board
get 2
somehow.
minutes. I've got to be fair to everybody. Thank you.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing,
No,
Chris.
no,
Here's the
Diana,
thing,
I'm
Kristen.
sorry. You had your 2 minutes.
You suddenly have, wait just a second.
No,
Went
no.
to
I
2
have-
minutes
We made
suddenly.
an agreement that we were going to follow protocol and.
But you should have
No,
let
you don't
the
like
public
it,
know in
but you're
advance.
Following the
You
protocol.
should have let the public know in advance. I'm sorry, but that is inappropriate. And the fact of the matter
Diana,
is,
please stop. I'm going to have to mute
I
you.
will
I'm gonna have to
stop,
ask for John to
but I
please-
think it was inappropriate.
I have the right to do that because we set the parameters in place. Thank you. Okay, next person, Mark.
I endured 25 minutes of abuse from the select board when I came and reached out and tried to offer my services as a volunteer to this town. And Kristen Hilberg treated me the same way she treated me when she was on the EDC, and I reached out to them the first time. And now, after that, I texted you because you texted me and asked you if you were going to let me discuss what has happened in this town with respect to your preference for a specific group of people. I've now had that person on the EDC going to you and other members of the board and telling them that I will not abide by the charter of that board. That was your comment to me at the last meeting. That was Rich Gazzardi who did that. And I know he did, although you left him anonymous. He was my political adversary. It's not enough that he took my seat. Now he's going to keep me from serving on another board. Why? Because he has decided, to quote you, he hates us, meaning me, hates the EDC members. I don't have enough time to comment here, Kristen. I asked you if we could have well, your offer was to have an offline conversation about this. You have now not done that. You spent 25 minutes maligning me and doing character assassination on me at a public meeting twice. And now you're going to let me have 2 minutes. You've cut the time normally allotted by the select board by a minute so that none of us can make a point anymore. This is an open meeting law violation. Your response and apology for your
5
terrible
seconds, Mark.
behavior is another open meeting law violation. I'm going to be filing 2 for the next select board meeting just to have an opportunity to have a discussion with the select board about
Time's
your
up.
deplorable behavior. It's awful,
Okay,
Kristen.
time's up.
Just wanted to let you
had
know,
your
it's
time.
awful.
The
We
same
will
rules
not
for
forget what
everybody.
you are doing.
Same rules for
Okay?
everybody.
Congratulations. I hope you're proud.
Okay, I'm gonna read again. If you feel you need more time than 2 minutes, and send an email to the select board, which all members will review, and a member will respond as needed. As a reminder, board members cannot comment or engage in discussion on topics not on the agenda. So that would be your recourse, is to request an opportunity to be on the agenda at a future meeting. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Cindy.
Yes, first, I'm going to also let you know my displeasure of reducing the amount of time, speaking time per candidate. You didn't put that on your agenda, and that's a change in policy from what's always been. I'd like to address my recent complaint to you about your conduct during Mark Barbado's appointment to the EDC on September 11th. One, you mistreated a member of the public by disparaging him instead of evaluating the merits of his application. 2, you violated your own policy of conduct dealing with members of the public. 3, 2 members of the select board voted not to appoint him without giving any reason for that decision. 4, you allowed yourselves to be pressured by others to not appoint Mr. Barbadaro, else those people indicated they would not serve. 5, you discussed Mr. Barbadaro's behavior, yet did not identify the behavior of those serving on the EDC at that time. 6, the select board has never discussed personality nor behavior of any other candidate during the public appointment process, nor has anyone ever in my 30 years in town ever been denied appointment for such behavior. More broadly, I want to point out the concern I have that town officials are abusing their authority to appoint. There appears to be unofficial criteria that apply to some and not others. Our town appointing authorities appear to have an aversion to dissent. The First Amendment stresses the right to petition government for redress of grievances. That is what you are getting. You are getting fair requests for dissent and petition for grievances. Both Mark and Keith Lyons ran for elected office in 2023 and lost. Since that time, both have offered to serve on other committees. Both have been vocal about their concerns about town politics, town behavior. Both have been turned down from serving down the Finance Committee, and now Mark's been turned down from the EDC. In all instances, reference to their communication style, volume of communication, and escalation of communication have been used as reasons for being turned down. It feels our residents are being marginalized by town officials for speaking up. Your unwillingness to appoint members who dissent brings no balance to boards that you appoint. Please reconsider your behavior. This is a travesty and something that's not going to be tolerated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there
Just a
anyone else who'd
question.
like to speak?
Just a question. Are we like, I'm not really sure what we're doing. Are we following Robert's Rules of Order, or are we just like general stuff? Because I have not talked to any of these people, but this is a slight departure from what we have allowed in the past. In the past, the select board has limited people to 3 minutes. And this change, I just want to caution the board from cutting people off at 2 minutes, because this potentially would be viewed as a change. And so just a thought for the meeting, and Mark has his point of order in the thing, but I just wanted to point that out. Sorry, Liz is at a school committee meeting right now. That's why I'm here, not in person.
Totally fine. So when I met with the staff team here, we did discuss making sure that everybody had time to have a chance to talk. I asked how many minutes we could limit it to, what made sense, because I had wanted to let people talk as much as they wanted to. I was not aware that it was not okay to do 2 minutes. So my understanding was that it could be anything. We already did depart.
It can be anything. It just has to be done before the meeting, and or to Cindy, I believe is correct, where if we change past practice, where in the past, even at town meeting, we've limited it to 3 minutes. The 2 minutes, while we can do that, you would just have to let people know ahead of time for the change in that.
All right, that's a hard one because I didn't let anybody know ahead of time that they could talk as long as they wanted. So that was okay, but it's not okay to change it to 2 minutes.
Well, once
Okay.
you've established that for more than one meeting, which has been done, that's when the so you can be more permissive. It's just harder to become more restrictive, is I guess the best way to put it.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, let's talk about it. What does the board think? How many minutes should it be?
Well, if the standard has been 3 minutes, then I'm okay with 3 minutes. The reason for the 2 minutes, as I understood it, was we needed to work on the warrant articles and to make sure those got done, and not have this meeting go exceptionally long. So I'm okay with going back to 3 minutes next time. But I think we need to do the town's business.
If I'm being completely frank, I don't think it's citizens' concerns that slows this meeting down and makes it go for 5 hours.
No, you know what it is, Wes, is that we're basically going to have all input at the front end of the meeting, including if you have anything to talk about with the, different agenda items, so that when the board is doing their work, we just get our work done. So the idea is that public comments are at the beginning of the meeting.
So now we're changing to say, if you have anything to say off topic of the agenda, plus anything relational to the agenda, you have 2 minutes to speak now, rather than taking it in the moment. And that's, I guess, my concern for the open meeting law, personally. And I mean, I'm just one person.
No, I don't have a problem, personally, again, I'm very conversational, is as we're working through agenda items, if people have things that are on topic to the point, that what happened is that we just got into this whole new law or, I'm sorry, Supreme Court decision, which says people can say anything they want, when they want to say it, how they want to say it, as if they've been recognized. So we're trying to navigate the new rules, for lack of a better word. So
Then if I may, Madam Chair, I make a suggestion that we leave the public comment to the open-ended that you have done it, and then limit people talking on discussions to one time or two times at 2 minutes. And if that would be my suggestion, Madam Chair.
okay, so wait, repeat that. So during the beginning.
So during the
input-
public comment, that has
Yep.
not been limited previously, and you
Right.
have openly stated that you want that to be public.
Yep.
And my thesis is that it's not the public comment that is slowing our meetings down. And so if we really want to provide more focus, to limit the discussion per item. And so where we have the 2 minutes per item remaining on topic, that is a fair thing, so long as you provide the public comment section that you have before. I mean, granted that it's not like somebody reading a dictionary or a encyclopedia or something like that, where it's just like, where it's not necessarily appropriate, but those are questions for the Supreme Court to weigh on. But that would be my recommendation for how best to proceed to avoid open meeting law things tonight, since there was no prior notice provided, if you will.
Rhea, you haven't had a chance.
No, I mean, I don't know in terms of rules exactly, like, I mean, if things can be changed, and I don't know if what we did is within the open meeting law. I don't know if Mike can give us some direction.
I
Yeah.
can. So I attended some training this summer that was put on by MMA, and it was to follow up and give town administrators further guidance on the Massachusetts Supreme Court decision that happened. And they recommended that you do, if you're going to put limits on time for public input, that you define it at the beginning of the meeting. And they suggested maybe 3 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. And they also suggested that you also consider putting a total amount of time. So your public comment, and they said maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. They said it's completely up to the chair of the board. So after attending that training, I came back and met with Kristen, our chair, and shared that. In fact, it was at a pre-agenda meeting. And I suggested that we consider doing that, either 2 or 3 minutes, and I kind of pressed towards 2 minutes. This was a while back.
The other thing I wanted to jump in, because I'm an interrupter, is that we agreed on 15 minutes with 2 minutes to get more voices, thinking that giving more people the opportunity to speak was better than giving only a few people a longer time to speak. So but that's where it came from.
And as far as, the chair, did say at the beginning of this meeting, 2 minutes per speaker. So it doesn't have to be announced in the agenda posting 48 hours prior. It doesn't have to be a week, 2 weeks prior or whatever. She did announce 2 minutes per speaker. And so there's no open meeting violation there. Now, as far as if people want to say, well, that's not the way we've done business, that's another story, but it's not an open meeting violation. What you've done is completely, within the law.
I am trying very hard to synthesize all of the input that I get. And I get it from lots of different voices, and not just the ones that are here or on camera or who email. I mean, I get a lot of input. So I am trying to synthesize that to make everybody happy. If it is the pleasure of the board to give everybody 3 minutes, then I'm going to recommend that we leave 20 minutes to a half an hour for public input. And maybe we won't always need it, but I would rather hear from many voices than few voices. And my goal is to not say, sorry, we've done our 15 minutes, you don't get to talk. So again, trying to synthesize a lot of different opinions into something that will work for everybody. I have heard clearly that the board is open to 3 minutes per person.
How about this? Like, I mean, maybe we can give, not necessarily an open meeting violation right now, but like maybe for the next month or so, we'll go with the 3 minutes, and then after the following couple of meetings, then we'll go to the 2 minutes. So that is enough notice for the public to know that it's going to go from a 3 minute to a 2 minute time frame. And that way we'll still be able to get a lot more voices in. if
Yeah.
that's the concern,
Well,
right? Like, yeah.
that's my goal is to.
No,
get as
that
many
makes
votes
sense.
as
Like, I
possible.
mean, now that you mentioned that, that does make sense in terms of like, so if it's 3 minutes and if you're saying 15 minutes, that's only like 5 people.
Right.
Like if we want more than that, then it might be an issue. So I don't know if just if
So I have
that's
a
an
quick
option.
question. Technically, this isn't on the agenda. Are we even allowed to talk about this right now? Because the violations are flying thick and furious. Are we even allowed to discuss this right now?
You can discuss procedure and policy in the meeting.
thank
It's
you.
not,
Okay.
but so I guess I wanted to raise the point of that. Again, I want to reiterate that it's not public comment in this public or citizens concerns or whatever we call it now.
We're calling it
That is,
public input. Yeah. 'cause we didn't
that's
want people to
not
think it
what's
had to be
taking up the
concerned.
majority of our meeting time, if I'm being honest and bluntly honest. And so I think that it's almost a falsehood to assert that public comments or public input are the reason why our meetings are going 5 hours.
That's not what my intent.
I understand, but like,
But
you
what it
know,
is
right?
that I hear what you're saying, Wes, that, we spent an hour and a half on, I think it was dispatch, and we,
It's not the
again,
first
trying very
meeting
hard to let
either.
Everybody have input. No, but we need to, I think that we need to put that 2 or 3 minute limit on all discussion. Of course, people can join, I hope the board wants to hear what they want to say, but we can't have people repeating themselves or talking 5 times and someone else doesn't get anything. So again, I'm trying to synthesize what everyone is bringing forward so that we can make this fair. That's all we're trying to do here. And
Point of order, Mark Barbadaro has been trying to raise a point of order and he needs to be unmuted to do so.
Oh, sorry about that.
Robin, I think was Robin next up?
But Mark had a point of order
trumps-
that should
point of
trump,
order.
yes. Thank you.
Okay, Mark?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, for unmuting me. Do you guys, my first point of order is, do you follow any rules of order? Because it doesn't appear that you do. I've been holding up I'm allowed to interrupt the chair under Robert's Rules of Order. Do you follow Robert's Rules of Order? That's my first point of order. Really? You didn't see it?
I had my glasses on and I didn't see anything and no one.
There's
brought
not
it
a
up.
big
I
screen in
apologize.
front of you that shows you the people who have their hands raised, Kristen?
I don't have my glasses on and I can't. I'm depending.
That's a
on-
big
that's why
screen. Are you
who's got
nearsighted
their
or
eyes, who's got their
farsighted,
hand up.
Kristen?
I didn't see it, Mark. I apologize.
Are you nearsighted or farsighted?
Is this the point of order?
What's the?
This is part of my point
What
of
is
order,
the point of
yes.
order, Mark?
And my point of order is that when someone raises their hand, you have to call upon them because they may have a point of order. Okay, so this is a public hearing. And if you're following Robert's Rules of Order, then please allow for civil discussion, number one. Number two, you guys, basically badgered me for 25 minutes when I applied for a board. It was the most disrespectful and obnoxious behavior I've ever seen from the select board. And I've seen some terrible behavior. It was wrong. And I think that, you are now trying to curb discussion basically to kind of bury what you've been doing. And you invited me to this meeting to talk to you. And you said, you didn't say on the text that you gave me unsolicited that I would be allowed 2 minutes to talk, and then you would stifle discussion once again. I respectfully disagree with Michael Johns about the open meeting law violations that are taking place at this meeting, and we're going to discuss them on every single select board meeting until you guys decide to treat your constituents with some basic dignity and respect. I haven't seen it yet, and I'm hoping that you will do it. You guys have been deferential to people who have sought support of a political action committee, and you have been disrespectful to anyone who disagrees with the way you act. You guys are political action committee affiliates. It is clear from your behavior what you are doing, why it is that Rich Gazzardi can go behind the scenes and start
Mark, what's your point of
influencing you
order?
guys.
What's your
I
point
gave
of
it-
order?
I'm giving you your point of order.
I'm not following it.
Okay, so there's this thing called Robert's Rules of Order. It is what most boards use when they have to have a code of order. That is one of them. It's
So-
not
so
the
your
only
Point of
one.
order is that we should be using Robert's rules.
No, my point of order is, my question is, point of inquiry is, what rules are you following, Kristen, other than to just simply stifle debate and discussion? Is there any rules that you're following?
I remember.
Other than badgering me
saying back and forth.
and using profanity to describe me for 25 minutes at my last request to volunteer at this town. What rules are you following? You don't know.
Point of order.
Maybe it's time that
Can
you
we move
start
on to the
looking
next,
into rules, okay?
person who's gonna take
I'm trying to wrap my head around everything.
Okay,
and
I
again,
understand.
We're.
I
not supposed to
understand.
Comment or
We-
engage in discussion.
We will be discussing this at my series of open meeting law violations that I will be raising at the next select board meeting. I don't
Okay,
want to
put
go
it on
this
the
route.
agenda. Okay.
Robin?
Oh, can you unmute, Robin?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, that was fun. I suggest that you consult with legal counsel on open meeting laws and be better prepared next time. Okay. Anyway, Robin Lazaro, 959 Hill Road. I want to express my disappointment in the select board for not fairly and impartially considering all volunteers for committee positions. The select board should welcome volunteers who have something to offer, as long as they engage in civil discourse, are respectful, and commit to participating. Thank you.
Thanks, Robin. Thank you. Does anybody else have their hand up? Mark, is your hand up again, or is it still up?
Diana has her hand up.
Oh, I can't see that.
Okay, so I'm going to make this, can you hear me?
Give me 1 second, Dana. Shouldn't, in Zoom meetings I've been in, anyone who has their hand up, their face goes to the beginning of the line, so I can squint and see. So I didn't see you. I need you guys' help if someone's hands are up.
We didn't see her hand up either. She
Did
wasn't
I-
on the screen, but she's now.
All right, because I just want to be clear that I can only see 4 faces. So,
My Zoom's going in and out because of the Wi-Fi, so this is the screen up there keeps turning it on and off, just trying to connect.
okay, so we have an unstable connection or some, okay. All right, I just want to be clear that there's no obfuscation here. It's that I really can't see anybody. Okay, Diana, your turn.
Yeah, the rest of what I was going to say, I think I'll just put up on the internet instead. And as I did a post that I put on Boxborough Town Center, because it goes beyond the 2 minutes. What's more important right now is for me to comment on the way this meeting is being held. I was chair during a very, very controversial time. We had a lot of people coming and public comments, citizens' concerns, spending a lot of time basically yelling at the board over the lack of transparency, et cetera, et cetera. The way that I handled it, just a clue here, is that for public comment, unless there were 25 people wanting to talk, I didn't limit the amount of public comment. I let people say what they needed to say. That was even true on the agenda items, but I ran a tight meeting. I kept people on purpose, and there was no need to limit people's time. As far as the decision that you're talking about in the Supreme Court, I'm very, very familiar with it, which is why I eliminated something that we had talked about that had been done by the prior chair, a line which said that the chair had the right to cut someone off at any time based on the way they were acting and what they were saying. I did not feel that was correct. So what that decision basically says is that people can come up and say anything they want to you. They can call you names. They can call you all kinds of things during that period of time. If you set limits in terms of the time, yes, you can stop them. But this is Boxborough, and I'm going to go to something that I heard incessantly before. The way we've always done it. I always felt it was a way to balance out people's need to express themselves with the need to maintain order and move a meeting along, expeditiously. And there was no problem that we had whatsoever. We never limited public comment to any time in the whole time I was doing it, except when we anticipated a large number of people, and we limited the comment, not the number of minutes each person spoke, to 45 minutes. It's just a suggestion, because honestly,
Okay.
when you don't allow people to express themselves, as I was cut off, it makes me angry. So
Got it.
I would suggest that you adopt that kind of process.
Thank you. again, since we've already broken the rules a million times. I'm taking notes as we go. As you said, you ran a tight meeting and you kept people on purpose. We don't have that right anymore. So the only way to keep a meeting moving forward is with time limits. Because Diana, I agree with you. I engage with people. I enjoy the conversation to the point that I get so engaged, I forget to run the meeting because I'm busy engaging. That new Supreme Court decision that Mark brought to my attention, changes that. I can't keep people on purpose. So the only way to do it is with time. So I think that we've gotten some really good input on how to do that. Mike, do you have any other?
It's almost 8 o'clock and we haven't started to do the warrant
Yeah.
yet, and I'm getting concerned.
So
Right. We've gone beyond,
have
we've
already
gone
done-
beyond what we said we were gonna do in terms
Yeah.
of time.
okay. Out of respect, is there anybody else? All right, there's 3 people with their hands up. I'm gonna go to Francie just because she hasn't had a chance to say anything yet, and then we'll double back. I can feel the daggers from the board right now, but let's let everybody have a chance. Francie.
Thank you. I want to thank you, Kristen. I want to thank Wes for your apologies at the very beginning. I think those were important apologies, and that we need to absorb what you were apologizing for. I'm very concerned that we're setting up a double standard in town concerning the people who will be appointed to boards and who they are. You've got a tight group of people working together, and that group has become a force for approving and disapproving appointments using different standards. I have never seen anybody turned down because of personality. I think, in due respect to you, Mark Barbadero, that the select board and Mark probably could have worked out an agreement to say, this is the understanding, this is the way one behaves oneself. If you go beyond that, you'll get one warning, and after that, you'll be booted off. Mark, in this case, is the most knowledgeable person I know about building codes, development, regulations. And I'm just listening to him at the last planning board meeting where he's not a member. He came to offer a tremendous amount of information that was pertinent, cogent, the town needed to hear. And we're not giving this person a chance to participate. And it's really to the detriment of our town, I think. I mean, personalities, Mark and I have had our times together. We got to work that out, but that's not a reason to turn somebody down. We don't, if you did that, you would have to turn down half of the people who are on different boards. Believe me, I received, after an open meeting in town with,
Francie, you're at 2 minutes. Can you just,
okay. All right.
well, good. Did you want to finish your sentence? I have Dave saying, Tom. What's that? Okay. All right. Who's that? All right, Mark, do you have anything different to say or to add? I'm trying to let everyone have their times.
Yeah, absolutely, I do.
Okay.
So turn your 2-minute clock on, Kristen, and I just want to,
Yeah, could
warn
you
you
stop
about one. No,
interrupting
don't
me,
interrupt me.
please?
I've got 2 minutes. You can't
Okay.
interrupt me. You've got to be quiet and let me have my 2 minutes, right? Thank you. So the point I was trying to make to you, Kristen, is that there's a lot of people in town who you are your allies right now, who are going to be very, very turned off by your behavior and what you've been doing. And the fact that you are badgering me, because they're going to see themselves being badgered for 25 minutes and sworn at when they volunteer, when their group is not empowered. And right now, the Political Action Committee affiliates and Becky Neville and her friends are in charge. And right now you have control, but it isn't always going to be that way. And it has been a rich tradition in Boxborough that people were allowed to speak uninterrupted, unbadgered, and you shouldn't be swearing at people at meetings. It's wrong-headed. Wes Folks came here today and apologized publicly for his public conduct. At the last meeting that we had where you were badgering me, we were talking about your behavior on the EDC. You publicly, at a public meeting, called me an asshole, asked me to leave town. And you never
Point of order,
apologized
Mark.
publicly for that.
We don't want
And
that
so for
language used.
these reasons, I think it's important that you let people talk. And you will find that the meetings are shorter and people will have more respect for you if you do that. If you try and cut off debate, even when it hurts, it's going to really, it's going to affect your ability to operate as a leader of the select board. And I appreciate you guys going beyond those 2 minutes. I know how precious your time is. Your time will be much quicker if you let people talk. Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else with their hand up? I do not see anybody.
Who's
Do
Cindy?
you guys see anybody?
Cindy.
Cindy?
Yeah, thank you again. Now I'm even more dismayed about the behavior of the select board, cutting off time for the public to speak. I think the other speakers have already alluded to that, and I'm just going to make the final comment that while one arm of town hall is working hard to engage the citizenry to volunteer for positions, your actions are continuing to have the opposite effect by discouraging volunteers who do not want to be subject to your vague notions of what appropriate behavior is. And I think tonight is just another demonstration of you know, the mismanagement and making people feel completely unwelcome. And so I caution you folks to be much more aware of your own behavior. And I'm going to suggest the appointed board's policy be revisited to become a much more fair assessment of what qualifies people to work on boards. And those qualifications should be technical skills and experience, and not some sort of litmus test when whether a person questions authority or speaks too loud at a meeting or sends too many emails. But let's make it based on hardcore things such as ethical violations, conduct that puts a town at risk, or dissemination of materials that shouldn't be disseminated that you received in your official capacity and to the public. So please do better, and please be aware that the public needs to have a voice, and do not try to squash that voice by reducing the amount of time people are allowed to speak. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your input. I think that's everybody, unless you all see a hand up anywhere.
No.
Okay, so let's see, we are moving on to appointments. No, we're not. I'm sorry. Approval of the minutes. Did everyone have a chance to read the regular session minutes from September 11th?
Yes.
Are there any changes, edits, amendments?
Just my only change is the order of the votes taken. At the beginning of this meeting, you said you do them in a certain order, and in the minutes, they're in a different order. It may be pedantic or semantic, but that would just be my one change. Effectively, you and I should be swapped for the majority of the votes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I always voted last. I'm
Yeah.
trying to do the circle so I don't miss anyone. And
It just started, most of the votes recorded started with you, so that would be my only change.
okay.
Otherwise, I'm fine with it.
That is true. We went, I think we did Wes, Priya, Dave, me, like we did a circle. I think. Wes was pointing out that, and by the, all of the motions, we voted in the same order every time, and he wasn't sure if that was pedantic or not. However, the voting order was different than what's in the minutes. I'm pretty sure it was always this circle.
So
Thank you.
I moved
Do
the
you-
yeah,
go
I
ahead.
moved the minutes of the September 11th with the change. Right,
Second.
Wes?
All right, Wes seconded. Any further discussion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote. All in favor of approving the minutes with Wes's amendment, please say aye. Wes?
Folks, aye.
Priya?
Sundaram, I.
Dave?
McKenna and I.
Hilbert, aye. All righty. All right, next, appointments, Affordable Housing Trust, myself, Kristen Hilbert, representing the Select Board. Do we have a motion? I'm not gonna move to appoint myself.
All right. And I move to appoint Kristen Hilbert to the select board as the select board representative to the Affordable Housing Trust with the term ending date of June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, Wes,
Folks, I.
Priya,
Sundaram, I.
Dave,
McCarron, I.
Hilberg, aye. Okay. All right, now moving on, new business, we have got to open the town fall meeting warrant. So therefore, I move to open the 2023 fall town meeting warrant. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote. All those in favor, Wes,
Folks, I.
Priya,
Sundaram, I.
Dave,
McCarron, I.
Hilberg, aye. All righty, we're gonna start moving through the fall town meeting warrant. I'm gonna turn this over to some degree to Mike to walk us through each warrant article.
Sure. And initially, while you have the warrant open, there are 3 articles that we want to add into the warrant and then pull 2 off that had been on your placeholder from the beginning. And the ones going on are, I'll just list them and then we'll go, if it's okay with you, then we'll go through the whole warrant.
Do you need your list?
No, I'm good.
Good, I
So,
need 'em.
so the first one to add is a full-time on-site finance director / town accountant. And that will be replacing the assistant town accountant position, which we'll talk about in more detail later. The second one to add, and these are in your packet, is Article 7, and that's the Sergeant Road Bond Anticipation. And it's different from what it says in your packet. It's not repayment, it's actually payment of the interest. So there needs to be $11,000 added there for interest payment. And then the third one, which is new, is Article 12, and that's an amendment to the personnel plan that we'll get into the details afterwards. And then the second one that we're pulling off is the not in your packet, but it was initially a placeholder, and that was adoption of Mass General Law in relation to joining regional dispatch. We do not need to do that. So we can, the town can decide to join regional dispatch. That was only if we were establishing a new district. There is already a district formed. And it's not a local option. The law is already there. We have the provisions available. So from the top, Article 1 is the payment of prior year bills. There are 7 different
All right,
bills.
hold on, we gotta go back, sorry. So regional dispatch is no longer in fall timing.
It is. The
Oh, I
only
didn't see
thing,
it. What number is it? I just went through it, I didn't see it anywhere, but I might have gone to the, oh, there it is, Article 4. Okay, all right, I just want to make sure it was still there. Okay, good.
so the first one, as usual, is payment of prior year bills. And next door to us over in the Morse Hillberg room.
We're done.
Okay. So I don't know if you want to get a report from FinCom as we go through on their recommendations, or do you want to just do them independently? Either way is fine, but they've wrapped up their meeting.
I think it makes sense to let the FinCom comment as we go through the articles.
Okay, so Article 1 on the payment of prior year bills. I think they had already voted this one previously. Is there any change to that? It was a 6-0 vote from Finance Committee.
Any change from that?
No, we just changed.
Oh, we should probably put the microphone either in front of you. You don't have to stand the whole time, but let's make it so that everybody can hear. And then, yeah.
We changed just a couple of the words within the recommendation, but we did not change the vote.
Okay. Mike, can you just walk the board through the bills that we're missing?
Sure. So there are 2
Feedback.
there are 2 prior year school bills, one for Minuteman Regional High School for about $32,000. And then the second one is for Assabet Valley Regional Technical High School for about $17,000. So those both need to be paid. There's a bill for a little over $100 for Kelly and Ryan.
And What's that? What is Kelly and Ryan Associates?
So they work with our treasurer's office. And that was a bill that didn't get paid during the transition of the, before we had the new treasurer on board. So that's one that
Oh, okay.
fell through the cracks at that
Okay.
point. We have a bill from Guardian. I think it actually is two bills, but the combined value is just under $2,000. And that's from Guardian, and that's for invoices that were not submitted in time, so we need to pay that. We have one from LW Bills. This is the company that does our fire alarm testing. And they did some testing. I believe it was over at the fire department. It was around the time that our fire chief was getting ready to retire. That didn't get paid. It's about $600. And the last two, one is Amazon. And these are past, actually way past bills for Amazon. And this was due to transition in the police department in the support role. And the last one is Axon Enterprises. This is a bill from a couple of years ago.
Oh, boy.
And this was one for about $11,500. And this was a bill that was submitted to the wrong place, so we did not receive it. And they notified us recently that this was a past due bill. And what it was, it's for the tasers. So we pay yearly for the taser equipment that the police officers carry. So this was from June 1st of 2022. We were just made aware of that. So in total, it's about $65,000 worth of prior year bills. This is a very high number as far as late bills go. This is something that I have not seen before and that I expect we won't ever see again. We have taken precautions to ensure that these don't happen again. Most of these have occurred because of personnel turnover. One, we've stopped a lot of the personnel turnover. We've stopped the revolving door for the most part, which has helped to retain people, also helped with morale, but also in addition to that, having steady people in the positions. Rajan has also instituted something where every department has a department email. So in other words, admin at Boxborough MA and so forth, so that if I was to leave, or Rajan or Kelly, the invoice wouldn't be coming to a person, it would be coming to a department. That was not all of the problems, but that was most of the problems where we had things, someone would leave and the invoice would go and it was ended up in a dead file because that person no longer worked here. So anyways, a large amount of overdue bills that we do need to pay. That's kind of the explanation of them.
As a side note, if someone does leave and email continues to go to them, does it bounce anywhere or it just goes off into the ethernet? Like you leave, someone says something like I'm John's. Where does that go?
So if I might,
So there is a policy. I don't know what had happened previously, because when we offboarded someone, we didn't shut down their email. But now that we've just migrated to Google platform, now we actually have kind of control of our own destiny. So when somebody leaves our employment, they retire, or for whatever reason, they'll do an exit interview, and then there'll be an offboarding process that will involve both the treasurer collector's office as well as human resources with Rajan, so that they'll turn in keys, turn in their computer if they have one, a town cell phone, and then we'll shut them off from any of the computer and electronic access that they have. During that process, we would be shutting them off of their Google email account. Even though it says Boxborough, it's coming through Google. Whereas prior, we were going through a third-party vendor, Guardian, who was doing our IT. So I don't know how that happened before, but we do know that as of this point in time, we have control of that. So when someone leaves, it won't be going to a dead file. They're basically going to be shut off, and the invoice will still come to that department. So it'll hit multiple people in that department.
Okay, so we'll solve the problem, because it looks like a lot of this was because it went to people that no longer existed. Okay,
Correct.
that was why I asked the question. It was relevant to this to make sure that didn't happen. Wes, I thought I heard your voice.
Yeah, no, I guess I just wanted to reiterate what Mike had said. And so effectively with this new email, we have more control over and it's a lot easier to manage. So we don't have to, when somebody leaves, we don't have to reach out to Guardian and say, please deactivate this and add this to XYZ's mailbox. We can create unlimited groups or aliases, and emails should start going to those groups and aliases. And as we add and remove people from those, they should gain access and lose access to said emails. And so it will be more resilient and better planned.
Okay, perfect. All right, is there any further discussion on Article 1? No. All right.
Pay him.
Yeah, we need to pay them. Okay, so
I'll move to recommend
Yeah,
Article
sure. So
1
someone
for
make a
payment of the
motion, yeah.
prior fiscal year bills for a total of $65,535.71 from free cash.
is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Wes,
Folks, aye.
Priya,
Sundaram, I.
Dave,
McKiernan and I.
and Hilberg, aye. All right, now, just because we're kind of running out of time to get the warrant to press, the team did write our recommendation. If everyone can take a quick read, or if you already read it, if you're okay with it, if you want to make any adjustments to it, reach out to Kelly. Okay, but I thought that this looks great, and I think it's very explanatory. Thank you.
Okay, Articles 2 and 3 are both planning board articles. Typically, the select board doesn't make a recommendation one way or another on, when there's other elected boards involved. I assume that's how this board wants to continue to
I'd
operate.
like to understand it, make sure that I understand whether a member of the planning board who's here tonight wants to explain it to us, or if you do. I think it's a good idea to first know what's on the warrant.
So in
Not
the
to vote on it,
past,
but just to make sure we understand.
Okay, in other words, you explain what it
Yeah,
is.
and for the benefit
Sure.
of the public too. Yeah.
Sure. Let me go back to Article 2. Is zoning bylaw amendment. That's just changing the definition within the usage table of what a commercial dump is. So it's more of a cleanup article. It's one that the finance committee has voted unanimously to recommend. Planning board will be making its recommendation at town meeting. I assume they're going to support their own article.
Yeah, because what I read in the summary was that the Attorney General advised the town that certain terms and language must be deleted from the bylaw. So, and this was one of the things that the Attorney General advised they amend.
Right.
But that's the planning board's bailiwick. And does anybody have any questions about this? All right, the next one, again, just to kind of walk us through.
Sure. So this is for a comprehensive traffic study around town. Originally, this article was brought forward as a West Boxborough traffic study for the amount you see there, $20,000 in free cash, which, as I understand it, Finance Committee had initially supported. After another meeting, the planning board felt that it would be important to do a town-wide traffic study, with this being the first $20,000, and then looking to bring another $60,000 to annual town meeting to finish. So this would be, the preliminary study. At that point, I was at the meeting of the Finance Committee last week, and they voted unanimously against it, not because they're against the study, but because they thought this is really an $80,000 study, with $20,000 being to get in the door. And the Finance Committee thought the whole thing should be coming to annual town meeting. The planning board has supported this unanimously to move forward. I can't speak to the rest of it, but at least for this part, the 20,000.
Okay. All right, so we'll wait for town meeting and see their presentation and learn more then. All right, thank you.
Okay, the next one, I think that you as a board have a pretty good understanding of, and I think the community does as well. We've presented this here to the select board, to the finance committee. Are there any questions for me, or would you like me to run run through the details of it again?
No, I mean, I
I
think
feel
you did
pretty
a great
comfortable
job.
with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wes, did you have any, did you want to go through this again?
Where's Wes?
Did
This-
we lose Wes?
This is one I'd be interested to find out what the finance committee voted because they, it had,
Hold on one
Sure.
sec.
No,
Alright,
I
almost-
don't
Is
care.
everyone there now?
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
just want to make sure you're still there,
I
Wes.
think that's our internet
Okay.
service, maybe still having trouble.
No, I don't care. Like literally, I've said all I can say, and this is, you guys have decided this is out of our hands.
So our internet service isn't good in here, so. Like, me and Kelly are having issues cutting on and off the Zoom.
Okay,
That might be the best screen.
so just watch that screen.
Yeah.
Okay, and even then, I only see 3 people, so, okay.
So with
All
this, when I presented this, with all the cost breakdown that I had up to current, to the finance committee last week, it seemed to have, pretty good support, but they didn't put it to a vote, but I believe they did that this evening.
did, and we unanimously are supporting it. 6-0.
Does the board have any questions for me on this regional dispatch?
I don't.
I don't have any question. I know when we talked about it before, we were supportive, but we felt it was important to go in front of town meeting, so
So,
I'm happy to do this.
so what we're doing right now is what we're basically, and I'll entertain a motion to whatever, this article. Anybody want a motion? To recommend or not recommend?
I move to enter into Regional Emergency Communication Center agreement with Nashoba Valley Regional Dispatch District. Is that it?
That's it? Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion beyond last meeting's discussion?
Just a quick point, we're moving to recommend this article.
Yeah, we're moving to
that's it.
recommend the article because we've already put it on the warrant. So yes, this
Yep.
is now the select board decided, do we recommend this or not? Any further discussion? All right, roll call vote. Wes,
Folks, I,
Priya,
Sundaram, I.
Dave,
Shannon,
Hilberg, aye. All right, this one passes, is recommended unanimously. Sorry.
so I do have a quick point outside of all of these. My thinking is that the select board and the finance committee are distinct. And so just as a lot of times as a chair or somebody leading a meeting, I would wait to give my own opinion. And so I'm not really sure how, I don't want to say valuable the opinion of the finance committee is, but I really want to stress that it should be the select board making the decision, not based on a recommendation of another appointed board or committee, but based on our own intuition and our desire to see the operations of the town. And so I just question bringing up the finance committee recommendations before getting everybody's opinion on these things.
I don't feel that the finance committee is influencing us in any way. I think we just, they're here, they're participating. It's certainly not changing my view on anything. It's just more data points.
That's fine. It can just give the appearance, but I mean, I don't care. I've said my piece and it is what it is.
No, Wes, what about if they did vote and if they voted against, don't we want to know why they voted against? At least, I think we need to know that part, I would think, right?
I mean, personally, what I would see as a finance committee is looking at the financial stability of the town and how solvent the town would be, whereas the select board is more operational based. And so while solvency is not necessarily equal to operational, that's where I kind of draw the distinction. And so I don't, and maybe this is just my millennialness where we just run on credit or whatever you want to call it. But, and I mean, overall, we should take into account the financial position of the town. But at this point, it's not like we're up against a levy limit or things like that. And I also want to say, we have done a good job of eschewing the town and stewarding the town through solid financial policies and decision making as a whole. Mainly my concern was about the appearance of influence from receiving an outside board or committee opinion before the board makes their own committee or opinion or even discusses it, because we're saying, what is your vote? And then we go into discussion. It's more of a formality or an appearance thing. I don't it's not going to change my opinion. I don't really care. It's just I'm just putting it out there.
It's been brought up to me also, that there is an appearance that the finance committee is trying to manage the select board, but I would point out that this board has voted with their conscience and with their beliefs and their understandings of the information. And to Priya's point, you know, just understanding where the money is coming from, how it's coming from, is there anything we're missing, is just, it's just one more point of information, but it's not influential and they're not running or managing this meeting. So again, to me, the more information we gather, the better. And like I said, we've been an independent board, so. But I'm sure you received that feedback, Wes, because I know I've received that feedback from a couple of people.
No, that was my feedback.
Yeah.
Let's just be straight. I'll own it.
Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
I could go either way. I mean, I think it, you know, I understand the point of the perception, but it's not swaying my vote, so.
No, like I just want to point out that like I don't care like if we get their input. It's just when we do it before any deliberation or discussion, just as any strong opinionated person would influence a discussion with a logical argument, that's just where I was coming from. It's not that they are influencing or controlling or doing anything. I just want to give the appearance of free and open discussion before another appointed or elected board where they have their own discussion that's open and apparent. And so that was mainly my point, and I guess I missed making that point.
No, we
No, I
really
think
understood.
I
where
got
you're
your
coming-
point.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought it was a reasonable point.
So what would you have me do, Wes? Be explicit.
No, so like so I guess if I was running the meeting, I would ask for discussion amongst the board, see where we were leaning, and then say, what did the finance committee, like, did the finance committee change their vote or what was their opinion on it? Because then after we have our initial discussion, that way it's unclouded and we don't have the input of another board or committee. It's us and us fact finding. That's how I would go about it, but it's,
Okay.
again, it's just a suggestion.
Because I didn't see it the way you saw it. I'm completely ambivalent. Okay, we will not mention the finance committee until after we've had an opportunity to.
Kristen, to that
figure it out.
point, I just want to make a comment. Like, I think like we had already had extensive discussion and we were leaning towards in fact, we said like we have to have Mike go and make the pitch to the finance committee and get them on board,
Yeah, we
pretty
actually-
much.
It's
We
not for,
actually
it's,
said
I just also want to
So,
say, it's
I
not
mean,
just for
that's
this,
like
but it's
for the-
for all these
No,
all
yeah,
these warrant
I get-
articles.
I get it. No, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that that was the reason why maybe we didn't have the discussion, not that we shouldn't for the once moving forward.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, I don't know if Cindy Markowitz has a point of order or just raising her hand, but she has her hand raised.
Yeah, thank you. May I comment on this? I would like to support Wes's point. I think if you as a select board need to understand financial implications, then you should direct a specific financial question to the FinCom and get a response, but to provide the FinCom's vote or opinion as part of this draft warrant, and then you guys have that inputted to your discussion. I don't think that that's appropriate. I think it makes sense for you to evaluate the warrant article on its face. And if you have technical or financial questions, you can go ahead and request that information. But this, oftentimes the FinCom is providing an opinion, which may or may not be based on pure finances. It may be opinion based. So I think you guys need to do your own homework, get the financial data you need to make a decision. That certainly makes sense, but not to be influenced. I don't think a draft article shouldn't reflect any other committee's opinions at this stage. You're still making your decision. So thank you for that. And I support what Wes said entirely. Thank you.
Right. All right, Kristen, we can move on.
Okay, thank you. Would someone like to move Article 5? Or actually, I'm sorry, Mike, we were doing it this way. Mike, do you want to present Article 5 to us, what exactly is going on?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I had first, feedback here. When I had first presented this article to you, I had approached you with the idea of getting support in the finance department with an assistant accountant position. Upon further research and consideration, I'm presenting this article to you as a finance director / town accountant position initially. and you see what it would cost the town to do this. And then the follow-up would be an article that we're going to speak to towards the end of the warrant, which is still bringing the personnel board forward to recommend placing an assistant accountant position on the non-union personnel plan, so that in the spring, once we have the finance director position filled, then we can look to bring on an assistant accountant. And my desire would be to have the new finance director be part of that recruitment process in building out their team. So in total, this we're asking for $55,000 in free cash to fund this, and that would be for the recruitment, hiring, and retention of a full-time on-site finance director / town accountant. And that would be using some funds left over in third and fourth quarter of this fiscal year, in addition to the $55,000 that this article is asking for to fund that full-time benefited position. Right now, we have a part-time remote town accountant who's fulfilling their contract, and this would be for full-time 40-hour a week on-site accountant.
Okay.
Okay, so the part-time, she's going to be fulfilling her contract. The part-time accountant that we have currently.
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry, what was your question?
no,
Let me, so
If
the
I may.
intention of this is, my hope is
I
to,
see, okay.
my hope is to keep our current accountant on board until we can at least have the new person in,
Yes.
have a transition period, so that we have a smooth transition.
Yeah.
How that happens, I don't exactly
you
know,
don't have a
because
crystal
there
ball,
are
yeah.
a couple of difficulties. One is, once we let somebody know that we're looking for somebody else, they could up and leave. On the other hand, I know that this is probably the toughest recruitment that any municipality in Massachusetts, and for that matter around the country, is an accountant, especially a finance director. But I think it's what the town needs. But back to the point that John made, I don't think he's here anymore, but earlier in the meeting, I believe the town also needs the assistant accountant position, but I'm not advocating to bring those both on at the same time. I'm advocating the order to bring them on is the full-time accountant, and then have the accountants that, help us to fulfill the rest of their team.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is to bring a full-time accountant on, understanding that he or she will become the director, or they will become the director. We went round and round on it. Do you hire the assistant first, and then the assistant's training the accountant, or should we hire the accountant who then chooses the most appropriate assistant, to complement whatever they're bringing to the table? So again, chicken and the egg, but ultimately, we really felt that we needed a full-time town accountant. Because that other piece of it is you bring an assistant in who's training that person. Our current temporary employee doesn't have enough time to do that, and we just wind up in this circle. So I do understand what John was saying earlier during public input. But when you weigh the pros and the cons, it just seems like this is the more prudent way to get the town's finances back on track. Wes, I think, is that Wes?
Yep.
Okay.
So I guess I just wanted to say that I actually would advocate more for allocating money for both positions at this town meeting. If we're going to go for the full-time accountant, which is a newer development, I would also advocate for adding or keeping the part-time or assistant accountant for the reasons of saying, instead of saying, well, we'll bring it forward to fall town meet or to springtown or an annual town meeting, that we may get you somebody. I really think it should be an all or nothing, because our last accountant, for one of many reasons, left after making an impassioned plea at a select board meeting saying, I do not have support. I don't have people. I cannot go on vacation because I don't have somebody backing me up. And so I don't want to be in the position to leave a new hire in that and say, well, it'll be up to us to advocate for you at town meeting. And I really think it should be an all or nothing. And that's just my own perspective from my experience. And so I also think it makes a stronger case for us investing in, if we actually say we want a full-time person, and the last few full-time people, and we've heard today saying we have less support for accountants, and every other position in town hall in the accounting office has an assistant. Why are we going to leave this person without one for at least 6 months just because they're new, and then say you're on your own? And to me, that doesn't seem right. And I think we should plan for both if we're being responsible stewards of this town. And that's just my 2 cents.
Mike, I'll let you speak to that. I mean, because it's kind of your, you brought it forward and we batted it all around. What do you think?
If the town had the appetite to do both, I think that's the best of both worlds. And I think funding it now, I think there is an advantage to that. This kind of came to me unexpected because I really thought that the town's appetite was going to be one or the other. I think that it makes sense to at least fund it. I mean, this person, we are not going to get on until January at the earliest. And I'm prepared for maybe a 5 or 6 month recruitment. Right now, there are 10 other towns looking for a town accountant or finance director. So I think that, well, I'd love to see somebody on the first week of January. I think that's unrealistic. I think it's maybe a couple months beyond that. But let's say we could, if you funded at least something for the assistant town accountant position, which the personnel board has worked to get placed with Rajan to get placed on the personnel plan, at least maybe a couple of months from that, you could get into recruitment instead of waiting until May and then you start a recruitment and then you don't have that second position, coming in until maybe the middle of summer. So if the town,
but it also shows good faith too, because we're saying we're walking the walk and we're talking the talk, and we do what we say and we say what we mean. We want you to be supported, and that's my whole thing. Is I guess the best way to put it.
I can't hear Wes.
We're having trouble hearing Wes.
Oh, sorry.
Kirby, is
I
that
guess-
Wes or is it us?
Yes, no, that's Wes. There's no Les on here. Or no, Les is here. Sorry, Les.
No. I said Kirby. I was asking Kirby if it was our speakers here or if you need to turn something up on your end. That's what I was asking.
I can do either.
Try now.
So, I guess nope. Hello? Testing. Testing. Is that better?
We can kind of hear you.
Speakers. Okay, here we go. How about this? Is that better?
No.
Yes, no, maybe so.
All right, Kirby says it's not us. Sorry.
That's fine.
Talk louder.
Can you hear me
Talk
now?
louder.
Can you hear me now?
A little better.
A little better.
Okay. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we can talk the talk and walk the walk, but to me, actions and speak louder than words. And so while we may say, and I have been at this end of saying, well, if you do a good job, you'll get promoted, that type of thing. And these people coming into municipal jobs know that, yeah, everything has to go to town meeting. But we say, imagine coming into this. Hey, we didn't just allocate for your position, but for an assistant as well, because we really believe in this. And it's not just us punting the can down the road. We want to have you be supported just as every other position in the accounting department or the finance department. And we have budget to hire your assistant. And we hope that you take our offer seriously and our intentions as clearly as we want them to be, but this is just who we are, and this is all our cards on the table. We'd like to have you enjoy your life here in town. We would like to enjoy your contributions to our town, and we want to make sure that you have the ability to have a good work-life balance. And
So what I hear you saying is that if we allocate for both positions, it's going to enhance our ability to attract top talent, because we're basically telling them, we are promising you, we're going to deliver on what we're offering you.
because otherwise we'll go to town meeting and it's been turned down and people left.
Okay.
I can tell you that's absolutely true. The people out there looking, they are gonna look, see, am I gonna be supported? So,
What am I a director of? Yeah.
right, and you can come with all the talents you want, but if you don't have the resources in personnel and materials and funding, then, it's, you need that support. I just did some quick scribbling here, and, if we're talking about a 32-hour position, which would be 4 days a week, so the assistant position, here all the time, the town hall is open, you're talking about 75,000 annually, not for this town meeting, but annually, with benefits. If it was a 19.5-hour position, non-benefit, about 30,000. Just, to keep that in mind. And we're recruiting this person. If this was to get funded, you're recruiting that person for less than half a year, because, you're not going to get a finance director in here, like I said, until after January. This position comes after that. So you're talking about, let's say, tops 15K for the halftime position, or 37K for a 32-hour position, just so you got some numbers around this concept as you think about it.
So I guess I'm not clear. I was in favor of what you had proposed in the warrant article, but actually I'm not clear why we need to go to town meeting for the accountant that's already funded. So unless we funded a low amount for the existing accountant.
Yeah.
For this in the past annual town meeting, is that the issue?
So there's not enough money that funded there. That's exactly it.
Okay.
So
The town
to
went
hire
with a
full-time-
part-time, yeah. The town went
Yeah,
with a part-time with an assistant.
Yeah, so to hire a full-time accountant, it would cost an extra 55,000 to do that for FY24. Because right now we have someone who's working 19.5 hours, no benefits. And we're talking about 40 hours, full benefits, and, somebody who's coming in with more experience, actually being a town accountant I'd be looking for somebody who's been a town accountant and hopefully a finance director at a prior community.
Just to clarify, Mike, more experience in their own profile, like in their own thing, not saying that there's anybody lacking experience.
No, okay, thank
you. Just
I don't think that was the intent.
I didn't
No,
hear
that's
it.
fine.
I think we're going to hire somebody with experience, not.
You said more
Has
experience, and
first
so like we're
experience.
looking for somebody that has a lot of experience.
Right.
Not
Correct.
saying that anybody that we currently have does not have a
No,
lot of
has
experience.
Correct.
Yeah, that was all.
Oh, thank you. Bree, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, just wanted to say, I think it's like not just the accountant piece, it's also the finance director, right? Like we want somebody that's finance director. So that might take the rate from where it was to where we are speaking right now, right? Is that the difference?
That's part of it.
Yeah.
One, what we've got budgeted is just too low.
Yeah.
To recruit anyone. We know that because a year ago, the town, did a recruitment for several months, as I understand, and, couldn't recruit somebody full-time. So we went into something where a number of other towns also went into. And that's gotten us to where we are. Okay. So we've moved along, but now, I think it's time for the town to take a step forward, and the town should have a full-time accountant, on site.
Yeah.
And the other piece is that, your town accountant is going to do accounting functions. That doesn't necessarily mean, your treasurer is the one who's generally investing your money, doing your bonds, things like that. A finance director is going to be able to do all of that and oversee all the financial folks who do that. So we're looking for someone who's a financial professional whose profession it is to do long-term debt, to do bands, to look, where do we place our money? Where's the best investments for Boxborough to be putting its money? And I think that's, the step up to a finance director.
Yeah. And in terms of the assistant, that'll be a separate article if it was the case, right? Or is it going to be a combined one?
It's not in there at all right now. I think that would probably be a separate article.
Yeah, we got.
We'll add that one. Okay. No, I just didn't want it to become like a combined one because I don't want both to be,
Right.
if they,
Now, I did include language in this article for the finance director, to make it clear, at least to the public who are going to be voting on this, that the intention, let me see if I can read it. That we have community glasses here. In the end of the first paragraph under summary, it says, the annual salary for a finance director would be, and this is based on the current salaries that are being advertised right now in Massachusetts municipalities that are comparable, 135 to 150K per year. And the finance department should be resourced with highly qualified, cross-trained employees who can provide support, backup, and redundancy for succession planning and retention of qualified staff. I've written that to reveal these are the things we need to do to be competitive in recruiting a pool of highly qualified candidates to choose from. And that's part of that. I didn't put it as let's get the person now, but I think that's even better. I hadn't, I thought it was one or the other. Maybe it is one or the other, but if we can fund the second one too, I could write up a second article, according with your wishes.
That can be my hill to die on. Like I will die on the hill because I really do think it is a catalyst for anybody who may be interested in applying for the position. And I think it's an important position. So I don't mind being the advocate for it.
I actually don't know that there's going to be significant pushback on it. I mean, just the fact that we're paying prior year bills, we've had a lot of struggles, I think that, I don't anticipate a lot of pushback on it, so we'll see. I've been wrong before.
On Article 5.
Yeah, or adding an assistant. No, I mean, Wes is saying he'll die on that hill, that he'll advocate to add an article for an assistant. Again, hopefully we won't lose you on that hill. There's other hills. So, okay, let's, so is it the sense of the board that we'd like Mike to add another article for an assistant?
We would just have to, that would be a motion outside of this one. And so we would just have to do that.
Okay, let's finish this and then we'll do that.
Sounds good.
Okay, actually, we haven't even moved this one yet.
No, do you have any other questions for me on this article on the full-time accountant?
I just don't want on a whim for us to like go and add, like, I don't know if we should like think through this a little bit more. I'm not sure. Like, I mean, this article, I'm okay.
I guess
The assistant one, I just.
My one thought on that would be that if you're going to do it at all, you should do something tonight because you can always pass it over. Whereas you get past tonight, we're not going to get it printed into the, into the warrant. And I'm not pushing you to go one way or another, but if it's going to get to town meeting, I think you need to finalize the warrant this evening.
But Priya, just to also quell your concerns, I do have, there are a few meetings that happened around 2020 before the former town accountant quit. The one that had been with the town for quite a long time. And she passionately advocated for support in the accounting office. And so that's one of the main things and also looking at equity where everybody else has that. And so how can we bring somebody in, like ask yourself, would you come in saying, that it's a toss up? Would you get an assistant because it's people advocating at the next town meeting on your behalf? Or would you rather come in saying, well, they already advocated on my behalf because they wanted a full-time person like me, and now I get to pick my assistant and to build part of this team. And so that's just, I guess, why I said I would die on this hill.
I think there's two safety nets too. One is that, let's get it into the warrant. As Mike said, if we learn more about it and you want to pass over, if the board decides to pass over, great. The other piece of it is we're asking for, to allocate a half a year salary. It might, it'll come from free cash, very well might go back to free cash if we don't hire someone until later in the end of the year. I think there's two things going on. One is looking at the money, and one is what is the town need for support, and what is going to allow us to recruit the best talent, because we have a lot of backtracking to do.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know, like,
But those are your two safety nets.
yeah, and I don't know, like, it might be more palatable and just like thinking out loud, like I'm thinking of people who worry about
I-
their taxes year over year, right? Should we go with something like what that you mentioned, like the 19.5 hour, which is like not going to affect their benefits, it's not going to get into their retirement and all that, right? I don't know if that's the way to go. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm also thinking about people who.
Oh, so
are
that would
worried
be
about,
the
like, maybe
assistant.
adding-
The 19 and a half would be the assistant. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm asking. Like, I don't know if a full-time is needed, full-time 32 hours is needed is what I'm.
So if it's the will of the board, I could write up an article and you could, carve it out tonight what you want. But the 19.5 hours, which I just did quick scribbles about 30K without benefits, which for this article would be 15K,
Mhm.
which I don't think you'd use all of it because I don't think you're going to hire that person on January 1st. I think it's going to be a little later, but
Yeah.
at least it's there. So you could think about hiring before you go to town meeting and get into summer. So it could be 19.5 hours at about 30,000 a year and put in an article for, asking for 15K in free cash for this, if that's the way the board wants to go. And I think that's a good way to go if that was, if the town had the appetite to do that.
Is there any reason that they have to be separate articles? But I guess one of my concerns is, people are concerned that the town will pick one or the other. And we believe we need a full-time accountant.
But that's where we need to advocate to the town, though. We can't.
Right.
So I think like whatever we want, we should probably.
Right.
get-
We already
I'm
have a
saying, should
part-time
they- should
accountant?
both Positions be in one article, or do they need to be two articles?
Well, if it fails, then both will fail.
I think that's how it should be because we already have a
Fine.
part-time and to be honest, recruiting for a full-time without an assistant or bringing somebody in, I think will be fruitless and either that or we'll get underdeveloped or underwhelming talent.
I'm not sure.
would be
which
my-
one I'm advocating for, two articles or one.
A one, that would be mine, but I'm open to the two. I am open to the two just to get palatability, but I really think that it's in the town's best interest from the executive function of saying, look we've allocated, we have this resources, we've briefed the town on what is necessary. We've done all the heavy lifting. Please come join us. We love your contributions to our town.
I agree with Wes. That's why I brought it up. I think it should be one article. Because it is what's best for the town.
What I'm concerned about is it a 19, I mean.
Leave it at 19.5. So literally keep the one that we have right now. And then if that runs its course, that's fine too. Like we have somebody, and if you want to change it to be on premise, that's fine too. But that like literally you cover all bases and you don't lose institutional knowledge by kicking somebody out.
Okay, I'm not following you on that one, Les. So you're saying that accounting.
I mean, I don't really care who is the part-time accountant or the assistant town accountant. I don't give two SIHITSs about it. I know that we can't swear anymore.
So, okay, but
But-
based on what's in the, what's in the personnel, that's a grade 12 or something, right? So that's significantly different.
It would be different because the contract right now is 60,000 a year.
Yeah.
And
Contracts are exempt from the personnel administration plan. So. But we've been trying to keep them in line with the personnel administration plan.
So if they are exempt anyway, why can't we bring the finance director and keep the person that's?
well,
Not that I'm advocating for that, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know. if
one reason is that we're using some of the money from that position. We're doing a $10,000 buyout if that's the way the town decides to move. And then using the remainder of that salary to fund this other position. So if we're hiring a new full-time accountant and keeping our part-time accountant, there's more money needed. So it's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, we
It
should,
changes
if we
the
are
funding,
hiring, we should probably hire them, not like have, this is almost like a contract person, right? Who we have right now, contracted one.
It is a contract, and so there are clauses for breaking the contract at will. And so
Yeah.
I don't really care two ways or the other, but there are ways to bridge the gaps that the board and everybody like operations can handle. But I strongly believe that it should be one article because I think that that presents best for candidates trying to join the town.
I agree, and I think it gives Mike the most leverage to find the most qualified candidate.
But somebody could even like rate it on the floor.
True, true. But I think
There'll be
what this board has to do is decide what's going into the warrant, what do we believe is the right direction for the town. I mean, I think it was, someone said it earlier, that that's our job is to.
that was me again, Kristen. Just say Wes said it's our job.
I can't remember. I couldn't, like, well, somebody
It's me.
said that's our job. So, all right, well, Wes and I are both saying we'd like to have one article with both positions in it and then be prepared to defend it on town meeting floor with myself. So, Wes, do you want to, I mean, what's the protocol for doing this? Because we need to just make a decision. We're just going in circles right now.
If that's the direction the board would like to move, is to put this into one article, I can write it up. Another paragraph to add 15,000 for an assistant accountant at 19 and a half hours per week. And the 15,000 would be for the last 2 quarters of FY 24, and then put some description on it. That is contingent on, we'd have to change the order a little bit because later in this warrant is one of the 3 parts of the personnel plan is to place an assistant accountant on the non-union personnel plan. We don't have that there now. So, maybe we'd move the personnel article
number 2
before this so that then, the table is already set for this. What we did is we put it just before the bus driver one because we thought that was the one that was going to hinge on funding that $7,200 for the first month for the bus driver. But we could just move that personnel plan article ahead of this and move $15,000 into this with another paragraph describing basically what you've talked about is a 19 and a half hour assistant accountant position, within the description that the Rajan and the personnel board have worked on, if that's the desire of the board.
So do we need to make a motion to amend Article 5? Or we haven't even moved
we
on
don't.
Article 5.
So no.
I'm
So
just-
we
I'm
don't.
just trying to do it right.
Just a point of order. We don't amend Article 5. We can change it however we want because it hasn't gone to print.
Right.
And so everyone has to make recommendations based on what our decision of the warrant article is.
I'm just trying to
So
move
what-
forward on what the board would like. We have 2 people that
Yeah,
have said
so-
we'd like to amend it. 2 people are on the fence. I'm just asking you, what is the protocol? And Wes, you're our protocol guy. to
Okay,
get to the
so
next step. Get me to the next step, Wes.
we can either add a second article, which would include both of them, and then pass over the first one, and then state our intentions in our voting of passing over the first one. In terms of our recommendation and all that stuff, and say we will motion to pass over it. People can choose not to, and that's fine.
But we haven't even closed the warrant yet. It's still open. So
I understand, but so what
we can just change anything you want, right?
we can, so we can just say we're going to hire an astronaut, instead of an accountant.
No.
That's fine. No. But I'm saying we can do that. That's fine. But what I would recommend in terms of this and what we've done with the Safer grant was we had one and then the other, and we've said that our intention is to pass over this one. And then if that gets into the consent agenda, whereas if the finance committee recommends it, and I don't think that they'll be able to vote before then, but at town meeting, it can be added to the consent agenda based on the moderator. If the finance committee agrees with the select board's assessment of adding a support position to that in order to hire the best talent, that can be added to the consent agenda at a later date.
Okay.
And then people in town can choose to take it off.
Okay, so that's actually not, okay, so I understand all of that is the if then scenario because town meeting is a yes or no vote. So, okay, I understand all of that. But what I'm actually asking for right now is we open the warrant, we have these articles in front of us. So, all right, Wes has just offered 2 scenarios. One, well, it's really one scenario. Wes is suggesting that we have an article that has both positions and then an article that just has one position.
I need to hear what they have to say.
Yes.
when's this closing? Because we will not be able to vote on this new article. And if it's in two pieces, I can't guarantee based on, because I understand what Wes is saying, but it's the fall town meeting. And what people are gonna need to understand is next year's budget could be 150,000 for a new accountant, which the finance committee, from a financial opinion, voted 6-0. So we in favor of. But if we have an assistant accountant and it is 32 hours a week or 19 hours a week, that's going to add another chunk of money to next year's budget. So I'm not sure where the finance committee will land on this. If you do one article with both those positions, we could split on those two votes. I'm not sure why you just don't add an article for the part-time position as well. And then it gets convoluted. There's no reason to have an article like this and then add an article with two positions. That seems a little convoluted down here. I don't know why you just don't add a second article. We will defer on the second article to town meeting. But our vote tonight and our recommendation cannot go into a different article. We voted on
No,
the
we
article that's in front of us.
I
So we would
understand
have
that.
to defer this whole vote to town meeting, which I actually guess I would have to do as the chair, because we're, again, not meeting, so we will not have voted to defer it. But I mean, the recommendation for tonight is just for the 55. I understand the whole reason to do this. I'm a little frustrated that this conversation's taken place over multiple meetings, both the finance committee meeting and the select board meeting. And at the 11th hour, when the finance committee cannot vote again, because we won't have time before it goes to print, all of a sudden, hey, here's an idea we should do. I'm a little frustrated as the chair of the finance committee because we worked really hard with Mike. I've had a lot of discussions with you on getting this to a good place. And I'm not saying we wouldn't support an assistant accountant. I guess I don't know because we're no longer have time to vote because it's the 11th hour.
But just,
And
that frustrates me.
I understand, but
So-
it's also, this is the first time we've had the time to devote to warrant articles. We've had a lot of other things taking up all our time.
But it's also
I appreciate your frustration,
I'm
but
very
we've come
frustrated,
up
but-
with some, I think that we're having a healthy dialogue. And we're coming up with things that we actually think are better for the town. And from a process perspective, if your vote doesn't get into the warrant. And if you even want to pull your vote,
Well, we have to pull the vote, right?
Right,
If you
right. What I'm
turn
saying is I
Article
can't-
5,
I'm not gonna slow this down at this level because we think it's a good idea
I'm just
for
saying,
that
so
reason,
my frustration aside,
right?
I'm saying if you change Article 5 and the
Mhm.
language within Article 5, I have to pull the vote.
Yep.
The FinCom didn't
Understandable.
vote on that. We voted on Article 5 as it is tonight
Right.
in front of you.
I
right?
understand that. And
If
this
you
isn't the first
add
time
an
this has happened.
article, if you add an Article 6 for
Mm-hmm.
a part-time, then we can keep this recommendation and just defer our recommendation to town meeting on the assistant. And you guys hammer out the language.
To me, it's 6 of one and half dozen of another, though, Maria, because no matter what, you're gonna have to defer something to town meeting. So it doesn't really matter whether it's one article with 2 positions or it's a new article, no matter what, it's getting deferred.
But our recommendation, our very strong recommendation to support a full-time accountant goes in a written warrant and goes out to the houses. And that, so from your perspective, it's not, from our perspective, I would say, and I'm speaking on behalf of the committee, it's not 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Our written thing, we wrote a very strong recommendation.
You can pull your
Supporting.
recommendation out, you can pull
I understand.
that out, and that's
So
what I'm
that-
saying.
So
no
that's
matter
not
what-
going in the warrant
Right.
to homes,
Right.
which is what, I think our preference would be,
I
to do
understand.
2 separate
This-
articles.
This is a really, really important thing though, and by having that, like, we finally had time to talk about it tonight,
I understand that.
Yeah,
If you do
I
a
understand
second
your
article,
frustration, but no matter
that
what,
would
you're
be-
gonna have to go back to defer.
But
town meeting.
Kristen, I think that the issue is like, I think we've always gone back and forth with the finance director. Finally, I think we are all in agreement that
Yeah.
we will need a finance director. But I think the town also needs to understand that, and the understanding will come if both the select board and the finance committee votes and agrees on it. Like if we present a unanimous front, right, and say that we definitely need a finance director. Mike agrees with that, all of us agree, and then we have our recommendations in there. I think it carries more weightage. I think that's where I'm coming from. It's not that I don't I don't disagree with like in terms of like having a one article together, but since it's late, but I still think like we could still get the town to agree with the assistant position as well. I think we can do a good job of like explaining why we need the assistant. We could put that in our recommendations as well. Like we will also be asking for additional support for the finance director so that they were successful. But I think it's important that their recommendations goes in as well, that we all present a unanimous friend, how it is important.
That I understand. Let's. That I understand.
No, if Dave
My
has a
thing is
question,
that-
or Dave has a comment.
Okay, go
I'll wait.
ahead. What?
No, sorry. I was just saying, you said I have my hand raised and I was like, if Dave has a comment or you do, like, I'll wait. Like, I'm good.
So
I guess. All right, Dave, go.
well, I have a question. What I want to understand is if we have a 19.5 hour assistant, what person is going to be at the current grade level that whatever it's at? I mean, who's gonna be applying for that job? I mean, are people that generally would like that kind of a role want to have a full-time job? Are we sort of limiting that down? I mean, because I'm balancing, as Priya said, you know, the cost to the taxpayers versus the idea of having the support for that person. I clearly would like to have, you know, redundancy within the organization and allow somebody to take a vacation, you know, without having to worry about it and not have these bills at the end of, you know, to pay from previous years. I mean, we want to take care of all of that, but I still don't understand who we're going to get for 19.5 hours a week.
So some positions are tougher to recruit for part-time, especially without the benefits. But I don't have a feel for this particular one. So we've just today got an acceptance of an offer that we've trying to fill for a long time, which is the associate planner. She accepted our offer today. That's 19.5 hours unbenefited, with the hopes that maybe that become a full-time position at some point. This is someone just out of graduate school, with some good experience in different jobs, but great educational experience, lots of smarts. You know, I think that we could hire somebody like that for that 19.5 hour position, you know, if they don't need the benefits yet. And maybe we grow into the other one. I think that often the unbenefited positions, to answer your question, are tougher to recruit. It might take a little bit longer, but that might be the way to get a foot in the door. Is with the 19.5 hour without benefits, get somebody in and then have them grow with us, we grow with them, sort of thing. I think, but to answer your question, sometimes it is tougher. As opposed to van drivers, sometimes like the drivers we have here now are part-time positions, but those are attractive sometimes to somebody who's retired and wants to do a part-time job. I'm not sure if that's the person we're looking to attract to this one or not, but I'm sensing that it would be maybe a little longer, maybe a little more challenging for an unbenefited part-time, but I think that's not a bad way to get our foot in the door though.
If you have a good finance director and somebody wants to learn and somebody that is young really wants to learn, it's very hard to find a part-time position where you can learn first and then apply for something at a higher level. So those people will be looking. So we just have to look for the right type of candidate too. Like our reach should be a little bit more broader, maybe like be willing to hire somebody that is straight out of school too, you know, and get them trained by the finance director.
Yeah, and I think that would be perfectly fine. And I think that's one of the keys where Rajan and the team have been successful with this associate planner. Is she's very interested in being mentored by somebody like Alec, who's really experienced, you know, especially for a young person. You know, so we get the right finance director in here who's ready to mentor somebody. You know, I think we could be very successful in that regard.
Wes, what did you want to?
So I guess I have 2 points. I first want to manage expectations that hiring a new finance director is not going to fix all the late bills. Some of the late bills came in because they sent them to the wrong people. Some of them came in because we were at fault as a town because we didn't transition emails. Some of them came in because they never actually sent us or invoiced us until now, and they're like, hey, we need money. And so I just want to make that clear because I see a lot of these things being tied to this position and all of that, and I don't think it's a correct thing to attribute to the hiring of a full-time accountant. And I just want to be very specific about that. The second part is I honestly, there's ways of the finance committee wanting to say that they want to have a finance director. That's fine. We can put in the recommendations that the select board added the assistant to increase hiring, but the finance committee initially only voted on just the finance director. And if the town wants to vote that down, that's fine. But there are ways to finesse and or be transparent in the warrant article about what the initial votes for, because up until today and this last iteration, it was just for a assistant to the accountant. And so the select board is only meeting now and saying, okay, well, now I guess we're voting on a full-time accountant. And so it seems very disingenuous to me that some people come before us and say, oh, hey, you know, we were upfront and all that stuff. But getting past that, what I really want to focus on is how do we recruit and retain talent? And I will stick by, and as I said, this will be a hill that I am willing to die on, and I will die on this hill, but I think that it's an important thing to do for the town of joining the, or at least joining the funding for the assistant and the primary role, if that's the path the town chooses to go down.
So I want to address your first comment and getting our accounting house in order. The easy thing, the low hanging fruit is to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. So I understand, Wes, that you're a very literal person. That's not the only reason we need a finance director, but we're not going to go into a litany of all the reasons. I mean, that's
no. So
yeah,
I guess I was just trying to say, people keep going back to the late bills.
That's not
People
the
say
only reason
late bills.
finance director. I agree with you.
But I'm not like, we have the opportunity for a finance director right now. But what I want to say is it doesn't always have to be the accountant. It can also be the treasurer. It can be the assessor. It can be any of them. But what I just wanted to say is that there's not going to be like a magical turn.
No, it's not. But there will be less things falling through the cracks. The work will more work will get done because more time will be spent on tasks.
That's because we're also paying for more time. We're paying for more time, and that. But I guess I just want to make that clear, and I don't want to put that as a prerequisite to hiring this person, because I've also seen justification like this being used to justify other positions, and then it blows back on the select board of saying this is not my expectation, right?
Okay, understood. All right, let's get back to, we have two decisions to make. Is it one article or two? Wes and I have expressed our interest in one article. Do we take it to a vote? I'm totally serious.
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to move that we add the an assistant town accountant to the existing language in Article 5.
And funding.
And funding. Well, that's
Second.
The language has the funding in it. Yes, we'll add all of that. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, is there any further discussion on combining this into one article?
If we do combine, Wes, you said that we could put, like, in our recommendations, we could talk about what the finance committee voted.
You can say that the finance committee recommended
We're pulling it.
this
We're
position
pulling the
based on.
recommendation.
That's appropriate.
So
Then
you
they
don't-
can pull
you
the
don't need
recommendation.
Wes's language for anything.
No,
We're
no,
gonna
not
pull the
Wes, okay.
recommendation and defer it to town meeting.
Which is
Because that
appropriate.
is not what we voted tonight.
I understand.
So
I understand your
I
frustration.
appreciate Wes giving us language, but it's unnecessary.
Okay.
I'm not giving you language, I'm giving us language,
Right.
and that's fine. Thank you, Maria.
I think what Wes is trying to say is that, he wants to be transparent in how it's happening at the last minute. And please know, I understand you're gonna have to put more time into it. I can't use the fact that it's gonna take more work as a reason not to move forward. I think it's the right thing for the town. I'm sorry.
It's never been about more work, Kristen. We don't have time for another meeting. That's the problem. This is going to print. The finance committee doesn't have time for another meeting. I'm losing half of my committee. You know, I'm not even, I can barely get a quorum for next Tuesday if I need it, but this is going to print. So I don't
It's
have,
not the first time we've deferred it.
I understand, so-
You know, it's not like this is unprecedented. Can we hold printing it all a week or it has to go out?
We could check it.
So let's do that. Let's see if we can hold the print. But, all right, well, let's first
So-
even see what's gonna happen. Isn't it further discussion?
Yeah, so I'm still not, I mean, I understand that we think it's a good idea to have a contract person. But the question is, you know, so but West wants to put it in the same order. And
Well, I do too. I think it's my.
you did too, right? Okay, and I'm envisioning it on the floor. They're gonna go from what's currently being spent to all this, to additional money, and I'm thinking that's just gonna keep going and going on the town meeting floor. I don't see that. I don't see that passing. I mean, when I go to town meeting as a president, you know, I love to see, you know, the select board approves unanimously, the FinCom approves unanimously, and I think these people have been working on this stuff. They get it, and I don't have to wear it, right? So now we've kind of got these two, we have to explain what we changed the article, we don't know what the FinCom may come back. They might be unanimous, they might not. I don't know, but so what I'm wondering is if we had it in a second article,
Mhm.
then you know, and it got turned down. Why couldn't we bring that article back again in the spring after this person's been hired and say, you know, I mean, why does it have to be like the complete package
Yeah.
all at once?
I think, Kristen, I think we can probably do a better argument. I think even this town meeting, if we have even two separate ones. Yes, the ideal thing would have been to combine, but I think it's important for people to like see if the recommendations came from both. And sometimes doing it on the floor doesn't, because people read everything before they come. So I think it's important. We need to like take that into consideration. Yes, it might not be to our best of our liking, but I think we should.
I think it's also a fallacy to assume that everybody reads the whole warrant.
I mean, the people who vote, I think, are the ones that they read and they come.
The
prepared.
majority of the
I mean,
people
not
who vote.
everybody, like. Yeah, Kristen.
Let me play devil's advocate. What if the town votes no on the director and says, oh, give our contract employee an extra half-time employee? We're okay with that because it's only $17,000. We're not okay with actually what we really need. Then where are we?
But I think that that's where the unanimous support, like all of us, I think, agree that we need a finance director. I think we can make a good argument from the select board, from the finance committee, we can make a good argument as to why. And we've been struggling with accounting, like, I mean, not just like simple things, bills being paid, but even at a higher level, right? I think they should understand that if we explain it to them well. I think it's up to us to be able to explain, and I think I am confident the town will do the right thing, and provided we give our recommendations very clearly to them. I still feel like we can pass the article.
So
I will vote nay on this then.
What's that?
I said I will vote nay on the single one and say I prefer the joint.
I thought you said
positions.
like you're okay either way.
No, and I say that, and so after the discussion, I really think, and hearing this and hearing Mike and hearing other people that are looking for these positions, I'm not a municipal employee. And I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a municipal employee of saying, how do I feel like I'm getting support? And being here after hearing the former accountant, the former assessor asking for support for their position where they were going to initially share one, and now we have everybody but the accountant having an assistant, and you want to bring in an assistant, I cannot in good conscience vote for just the assistant, but I would do a joint position and or joint funding. And that's I guess where I have changed my thinking and understanding.
Okay. let's finish the motion on the table, which was to combine both positions into one article. Is there any further discussion? All right, let's vote it so we can move it on. Well, let's see, all in favor, please say aye. Wes,
Folks,
Priya,
Nay.
that's fine.
Yeah, I'm there.
All right, and I'm aye, so it's a split vote, which essentially means
It doesn't
it
pass.
fails. Okay, so now, let's get Article 5 covered. So that's off the table. If we do it, it's gonna be 2 articles. So let's just do Article 5. I move to recommend a full-time on-site finance director / town accountant with a $55,000 appropriation from free cash. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion on this article? No? All right, then let's have a vote. Wes, what say you?
nay.
Priya,
Sundaram, aye.
Dave,
Karen and I.
Hilberg, aye. I think it's important to get this article on the table. All right, so the select board recommends 3 to 1.
Are we I'll move to add an article for the funding of both positions then.
You're moving to add an article to fund both positions?
Both positions, yes.
But we don't even have this
We
second
ju- oh,
position,
okay.
right?
Is there a second?
I didn't,
Wes, help me. Okay.
we don't even have
just
the
voted
position.
that we
how-
don't want to have.
I
it-
understand, and so you can move the article from the personnel board where they move it up to article, like the number 2, and then this one can be considered after the fact. And so there is that precedent, so you don't have to wait, and you can still provide people with the ability to say, hey, look it, we've gone to the town, we've fought for what we believe is right. And we want to show that you're supported.
All right, unfortunately, Wes, I'm not following changing the order of the articles. What I heard you say.
We can change them all tonight because you just opened up the warrant. So we can order,
No,
we
no,
can
no,
order
no, but
them.
the motion I heard you move was to add an article to support. both
Article.
positions.
Both positions. So the assistant, was that what we were just looking at, right?
Just
'Cause
voted, we just, all right, what we just voted was adding before, we voted to add.
We voted to add, the first vote was to combine the
both
two, which was
positions.
defeated. And then the initial warrant article was voted, I voted nay. Because I
Right.
wanted to add an article that would include both the primary position of the full-time accountant. I'm not saying the finance director because that is up to the decision, in my opinion, of the town administrator, and the assistant accountant, which is being brought forward by the personnel board. That is the article that I would like to see added to this while the warrant is still open.
Okay. So basically.
And that's, I guess, my
finance
motion. Yeah.
director, so what I'm hearing you saying is take finance, so basically add an article that no longer says finance director.
It says a
No.
full-time accountant and an assistant accountant position. That is
But
my,
if the administrator wants, do you want that to be, say, finance director?
I don't really care what I just
Yeah,
want
no,
the
but-
full-time accountant and the full assistant accountant.
Yeah, I mean.
That's, that's my article.
We still have the full-time accountant, Wes, what I'm asking is, like you said, like it's up to the administrator to determine if has to be a finance director, so I'm asking.
Well, no,
you-
so the finance director, in my opinion, is a title given to the most capable finance department member. And so that is the person that leads,
true.
and in my opinion, that is an operational decision. Whereas hiring a full-time accountant and an assistant accountant is a executive decision, where we are then saying we are going to be responsible for the head count of these positions. That is what I am advocating for.
But
Let's get it on the table first. He moved to add the article. Is there a second so we can have a discussion?
Can I,
Well, yeah, jump in afterwards. Just get the second on it.
I just wanted to make sure what the motion was. Is it
He's moving to add-
full-time accountant and part-time or and full-time accountant?
Assistant, a
Assistant.
full-time and an assistant.
Full-time and assistant.
Part-time or full-time assistant?
I don't really care. And assistant. You
You're
guys
making
can
the
figure it
motion,
out.
Wes. You get to care.
So fine, I'll say,
Part-time assistant.
well, then may I ask a question of Mike? What do you recommend based on what the plan is for the fall town meeting?
I think part-time is fine.
Then that's what I'm
I
going.
mean,
for.
the ideal is full-time, but I think to get in the door, part-time is fine.
Yes.
Okay. So discussion about adding an article with the accountant and a part-time assistant. Mike, this just got presented to you. What are your thoughts? Because Wes is not wrong. We actually talked about that before. The finance director should be the most qualified person on staff.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't feel strongly either
And
way.
somebody in the personnel plan, is it? Full-time accountant and assistant.
The accountant,
The accountant is in the personnel plan. The assistant accountant is what's going on the warrant to get put on the personnel.
I think Wes is saying okay, Wes, help me.
So so my motion is putting the warrant on here. The order can come after. And so like if this article or this warrant gets added.
Admin, or is the assistant an assistant accountant?
No, it's an assistant accountant.
Okay, thank you.
and as far as the accountant, while it's on the personnel plan, it's not funded at what needs to be funded. So whether you call it a finance director or assistant account, or full-time accountant, it's still the same salary range that we talked about. That full salary range is not in the personnel plan, but that's okay. Because this can still be, as long as the funding is put into place for town meeting, we can still do a contract and catch up later with what's on the funding plan. I just want to be clear about that the full funding for this position, whatever you call the accountant position, is not fully funded there yet, but we can still move forward with a contract to do that, because this position wouldn't be in the personnel plan. It would be a contract position. Does that make sense?
Just like it is now. Yeah. But it would be my intention to work with the personnel board to get this, to realign it with the personal administration plan. And I just want to make that forward.
So Wes, if this article you're proposing with an accountant and an assistant accountant, how do I vote in favor of having a finance director? And vote for that? I mean, that's a mixed message to.
So why are you voting for a finance director? And that would be my proposition of that is a poorly done operational, leaving it to the townspeople to decide operationals rather than just executive. So if the whole goal of the finance committee is to actually have a full-time accountant, that's a different discussion than having a finance director. The finance director is more of a title and it's also a position. However, it has not been designated anywhere else. And so if you can show me where a finance director is in the personnel administration plan or things like that, that's fine. But
No, it's not.
yeah,
It's
and so
not the language actually.
it was it was also a title given to an employee to try to retain them. And so this is us effectively, you're delegating right now to town operational decisions instead of making executive decisions, and what the town should be making is executive decisions. And if they want to vote on the operations, they should be voting for their select board and other boards and committee members. That's my opinion.
Amend Article 5 and just, you had a good point, and we did talk about that before. The finance director doesn't have to be the town accountant. This is tying that together. I would rather take Article 5 and just strike the word finance director.
Is the finance committee going to withdraw their support for it then?
No, we're not, Wes, because this is, the finance director language did not come from the finance.
It came from me.
It came from Mike.
Okay.
So we're supporting Mike's language. He wanted specifically a finance director / accountant. He added that language when he and I talked. If you amend it, I do need to pull the recommendation because again, we voted on a different, it's not a matter of us being difficult. It's what my committee voted for tonight. And if we amend the language, that's why we voted early tonight, so I come in here. If you're amending the language, I've got to pull a recommendation. That doesn't change. That doesn't mean we're pulling the support. We want a full-time accountant. Mike wanted a full-time accountant / finance director. So we said, okay, and we can support that because the town administrator came to the finance committee and said, this is what we're lacking, this is what we need. And I feel we can do this with an accountant. We listened to your town administrator. So we're not, I'm gonna pull the recommendation because I have to.
Well, we haven't done anything yet. You don't
Right,
have.
I
to
understand,
do
but I'm saying
anything.
that. I want Wes to understand. We're gonna.
No,
pull
I
it
do understand. I get it.
procedurally, but that
I get it.
doesn't-
No, I understand. I'm not
Okay,
saying you guys are bad.
Can you not speak over me, please?
Okay, let's just take turns.
Whether or not there's a finance director, that's a Mike thing. He came to us and said, I need a finance director. We said, fine, that's what we supported. If it's an accountant, we want a full-time accountant.
Right,
So,
okay.
so just to be clear. on
Wes, let me give Mike a chance. Mike, as the strong TA, hearing what Wes said, like, what are your thoughts?
It's irrelevant to me. I mean, if you bring in my thinking on this, I'll share with you. I think you're gonna do a better job attracting someone in the job description of finance director, because not only are they going to come in and be the accountant, they're also going to be managing a staff. I think, and Maria's right, this is my language. I came back and said, I wrote this up as finance director, but I think that's a better way to attract a wider pool of highly qualified candidates. But if you went to town meeting and town meeting approved a full-time accountant, I could still advertise that as finance director, because that's my call to do that. But
So your preference is to leave it as is?
Yes.
As our strong TA, as a
Yes.
professional consultant advisor, your recommendation is leave the language in Article 5 as is?
I think so.
If I can say, I think we are getting lost in semantics here. I think nobody is saying we are not making the decisions that we are supposed to make. We are putting the wordings that is going to get us the best bang for our buck. So I don't think we should get lost in all the semantics. I think what we voted is fine. That's okay. And we can move on to the next one that he recommended that you guys have,
Okay,
that we have on the motion.
all right, so Wes is proposed that we add an additional article.
I'm fine if we can change it to the finance director, but I also just want to make sure that the positions that you compared the salaries for were finance directors specifically and not just town accountants. Because that comes with extra weight.
There were actually both. So across the board, in the positions that are advertised, some are accountant, some are finance director, some are CFO, and they're generally 135 to 150K.
Then that's fine, and I'm fine with that. And so I would amend it to say if the town administrator wants to be the finance director and assistant accountant, or whatever language it should be, but that would be my intention around the article, to be of similar language, but also include the assistant position for the accountant.
Okay,
So I think the benefit of what you're talking about, Wes, is if you're using the same language, but you're adding in a part-time person, then I really can support both. I can say I support having a finance director, and I support a finance director with a part-time person, and then the town gets to decide which one. I mean, we need one of them, so it's kind of like which one. It's not
Technically, we need both, but that's fine if the town doesn't want to support both of them. I'm
Right.
fine with that.
so, all right. So Wes, your suggestion is that we combine it, so we have, again, it's what you said in the very beginning.
So no, the new article. So I'm amending my motion to be the given the input. So I would amend my motion based on the discussion to be the finance director with an assistant accountant position, which is being placed on the personnel administration plan by the personnel board at this upcoming town meeting. And so it would have to come after that to be approved, technically. But that's just semantics, I guess, is the best way.
Well,
to
no,
put
the
it.
way I see it is that it would come before. So the town would if the town voted for both positions, we pass over the single position. Because if you do it the other way, they've already voted to add a position and then we're voting to add 2 more. So,
No, so I was talking
Personnel
about the
plan,
personnel
both
plan and then, yeah,
right, personnel plan, both positions, if that fails, the one
Yep.
position.
yep,
That
that's
makes
what I,
logical sense to me. Okay, any further discussion?
So so what do we have now?
Okay, so then here's the plan, here's the thought process, that we move the personnel article up to the front, so we can create
That's
the
fine,
position.
sure.
Then we ask the town for both, because we think, you know what, we think it'd be great to have both positions, this is the best course for the town, that is what we believe is best. Town says yay or nay, town says yay, we pass over the one with the single position. Town says nay, we say, okay, you didn't go for both positions, let's go for the one position, and we have a second chance to get an accountant.
My concern is, are we gonna confuse people when we send these?
we've done this with the Safer
Articles?
Grant.
Yeah, I
We've
was
done
gonna
this
say,
with
we've
the
done it
Safer
before.
Grant,
We did it.
where we said, effectively, if we get denied, like we go for one and
It would
then,
be in the explanation, so in the first one, the 2 position, I mean, it would basically it would be part of the summary and the explanation of why they're in there. So for everyone who reads it, they would understand it's an either or situation, so that's gonna be part of the write-up.
Mike, any input?
It's basically if it's had 2 shots to decide if they want a full-time accountant or not, does that person deserve an assistant or not?
Okay,
Now, we could get really fun and add just an assistant, but I don't think that's what we really need. All right, we ready to vote?
do we have a motion and
Yeah,
and a
Wes-
second?
Folks,
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wes
folks,
did it, I seconded it, he amended it to add back the word finance director word, so it's essentially the same thing. Wes, what say you?
folks, I,
Priya,
Sundaram, I.
Dave,
Okay,
Elver guy, okay, let's,
Got it.
you know what you're doing, I'm
I
not gonna
do.
say it again.
I got it. I'm wondering if we want to move to Article 11 next. The chief has been sitting here since the beginning. And I know he
Sure.
previously.
Kristen, can I just, I will send you language for this second article as to why the FinCom is deferring. You know, talking about the last minute nature of this, blah, blah, blah.
But,
To vote.
That's
I know we
okay.
were gonna figure out if it can be delayed, right, the printing?
I
We're-
can't
we are-
meet until,
Next Monday.
next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Is Monday a holiday?
No,
No.
but, well, I mean, I could see if we held, next Tuesday is our regular scheduled meeting.
Oh, okay.
I have 4 people who can attend Tuesday, and they're holding the day if anything came up.
Oh, good,
like
thank
this.
you.
So, but if you can't hold it, then I'll just send language as to why we're deferring.
So.
Yeah, let's find out if the printers can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. What article number is the personnel board article? It's later.
12 and 13.
Would you?
I'm
mind-
happy to take things out of order in deference to people that are sitting either on the Zoom or here. So
would you like me
I'll
to
take
go
your
to
advice.
11, which is the K9, and then after that, do the 12, which is the personnel plan, then we can come back to,
Sure, totally happy to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, trying to respect everybody's time. And I think I saw Chief Ray is on the Zoom.
yeah, it looks like he just joined. So Article 11 is establishment of a K9 unit. And, the chief has been before you before to describe this. I don't know if he wants to come to the microphone, if there's anything else you want to provide.
I know I was here the other weeks ago, but.
Yeah, I think you're gonna just so. Sorry. There we go.
Thanks. I know I was here 2 weeks ago and we were right at 12 o'clock deadline. But if there's any other questions regarding the K9, I know I kind of already explained it 2 weeks ago, but if you have any other questions, I'd love to answer them here tonight. Definitely asking for your support on the warrant article.
I would say only because it was 11:50. Why don't you just quickly go through the summary again, that it's your words, not our words. If that begs any questions, great. It just gives everyone who's here now the opportunity, or anyone watching right now, the opportunity to understand it.
We put forward a warrant article. 26,300. That warrant article will help us with the establishment of a K9 unit. that we're looking to start early next year into April. April timeframe would kind of be the part. There is some moving parts with this because you have to get availability of when you can get a canine, when training classes start. We're expecting a lot of this, the funds that we're putting in asking for in the warrant article will be returned to free cash. We think there's going to be a lot of donations and fundraising efforts for this. We looked at other towns, similar towns in the area, and the average is around $7,000 to $10,000 a year they get in annual fundraising. This would be a first-time thing. There's been a lot of support around the community, so we think it would be even higher than that. There is a cost of the actual dog handler as far as an hour a day. Again, that's required by federal law that the handler is compensated. However, there are ways to decrease that number, mainly with comp time, mainly working 7 hours instead of 8 hours. They need to be given 1 hour per day. However, if you have multiple people working on a shift, sometimes that individual can work 7 hours instead of 8 and do it that way. We can't always do that because we're a small department. That can be done in obviously bigger municipalities. But so we put in the numbers here for worst case scenario. Also some training when the handler has to go away with the dog, and that's where the breakdown of the expenses are. But again, a lot of this we believe will be returned to free cash because we will certainly fundraise and ask for donations. We already have quite a few, especially veterinarian services have offered to donate. And again, this is not a bite dog. This is not an apprehension dog. This would be a community service dog that also is cross-trained for scent. We do have a lot of trails here in town. The numbers are indicative of we have missing people. So it's more than just the community service dog. We would also get it trained for scent. However, this is certainly not a bite dog or anything like that.
So, yeah, because in your summary, you say, or maybe this is my summary. I think.
That's Chiefs.
Okay, a canine would serve multiple purposes, including improving community relationships with town citizens, seniors, employees, and youth, while also providing much needed search and rescue operations in a timely manner for lost or missing individuals in the numerous town trails and open space areas. And then you have, exactly what the expenditures would include. So do you want to speak a little more of that? You talked to us last time about seniors, children having to rely on mutual aid, which takes hours to get to us. Maybe just.
Sure. We look, again, community service is the primary function, and that would be 98% of what the canine would do. However, we do see a need for, with the amount of trails here, and we went back and we did a little bit of a look back on some calls. I mean, we're looking at 5 to 6 times a month that we really would have use right here in Boxborough for canine. Now, we sometimes call mutual aid. However, that takes 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We just had an incident. Was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? We had numerous agencies came when we were searching for an individual. So there is absolutely, the need for it. We right now are relying strictly on mutual aid. Again, that could be 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So to have our own canine right here for those situations, which we think, looking at the numbers, would be about 5 to 6 times on a monthly basis, when we would need somebody for tracking purposes of a suspect left, if there was a missing person. We would absolutely, be in a much better position if we had a canine right here in town.
Okay.
Can I have a question,
Sure.
Chief?
Yeah.
Can you speak to how the canine officer and the dog would interact with seniors, with schools, with community events, outreach, that sort of thing?
Yeah, that's the primary function. It's a way for individuals to come talk to the police, come pet the dog, but also talk to the police, establish that relationship with officers where maybe they wouldn't otherwise. So whether it be, Pfeiffer's Day, whether it be the trunk or treat, whether it be those are the sort of places the dog will, always be at. Certainly the schools, the senior luncheons, the things like that the dog will be a big part of the community. Yes, it has a handler. Yes, it goes home with an officer, but the canine would belong to the entire community. And that has worked well in other similar sized towns. Just go right over to Harvard and you see what they've done with their canine. And just what a big part of the community it was. It is, or I should say was, because but they're getting another one. So it's another one. The individual moved on, took the canine with her. The canine is fine. The canine is absolutely doing fine. However, I believe the individual left to another department. However, so it would be part of the community. It does go home though with the handler.
Yeah.
And again, there is, and that's again what a lot of the funding is for. But we think this will be a good program and really to help with community outreach and have individuals come talk to our police officers and really improve on community relations.
All right.
What's
there-
the year-over-year cost? Overall cost.
For year over year, based on if we did 365 days and that is worst case scenario, an hour a day, along with a food cost and an equipment cost. Again, that part can be donated. We're fairly confident that will be donated. We've already gotten commitments on the veterinarian services, but 1 hour a day plus food and equipment, if we got no donations, would be 27,000. Again, 21 of that would be an hour a day, which that is worst case, but that will certainly nowhere near be that. But I want to put that in to be fully transparent. But we do have plenty of shifts where we have 2 or 3 officers working, and then there's ways to give comp time. There's ways to let the individual work 7 hours, but we are obligated to pay that 1 hour a day.
Chief, is it one dedicated handler for the dog?
It's one dedicated handler.
And,
Yes.
and so is there another one person that's trained to be the backup in case that handler goes to Cancun? For
Yeah,
a week or something?
Now, the canine community is pretty close in terms of the other officers in the area, other departments. So if someone goes on vacation, another handler could keep that dog for a week. That's kind of the way it's been done. Remember, they're also giving mutual aid sometimes. So if that officer is not working a particular shift, they would come over. So they really do know each other, but no, it doesn't go home. It's not like working first shift with one officer and then second shift with another officer. It doesn't work like that. It has a relationship with the officer and a bond.
Okay, so there's one primary Boxborough officer that
Yes.
is it's the handler, and if that officer goes away, the dog would go with another unit that also manages dogs, not with another box.
It would stay with most likely another officer who is a canine handler in another department that I've seen done before.
Okay.
It could come, it could stay at an individual's home, but it wouldn't really come to work. That person's not trained to work with that dog. It could stay with them, but it wouldn't be coming to work and working with them. When it's working, it would be with they go away to training together. So, when they come back, the handler and the dog, they train together and they work together.
Anybody else have a question for the chief? All righty, I move to approve Article 11, establishment of a canine unit with a $26,300 appropriation from free cash.
Second.
Wonderful.
Just to
Is there
move
any
to
further-
recommend, just a point, we should say move to recommend.
I move to recommend Article
No,
11.
yeah. Yep.
Can you please adjust that?
Second,
You accept the,
Yes.
we already
Second.
seconded it. Okay, great, thanks. Any further discussion? All right, Wes, what say you?
aye.
Priya,
Sundaram, I.
Jay,
McKenna and I.
and Hilberg, aye. Awesome.
Did the finance committee have a chance to vote that this evening?
We did. We voted 5-1. The one only voted 1 because he felt it should be an annual,
Should be what?
it should be an annual meeting article.
Not a special.
5 of us voted in favor of it.
Okay,
Okay, thanks. Next article is 12, and I'd like Rajan to take the lead on that one. And then I know that one of the subcomponents of this, the chief is here for.
You make your words bigger, so I use this.
Yes.
No, you can do that. I'll use your glasses and you can expand yours. All right. Oh, John.
Yeah, so essentially this, this warrant article is to place, two positions, that are being proposed for funding on the personnel administration plan. So that's for the, we ended up retitling it local transit operator because we also already have a van driver position on there for the COA. So we wanted to differentiate the two, but this will be for the new position that is being proposed by Mart for the local transit service that we're getting the grant funding for, but we need to put that on the personnel administration plan so we can go ahead and have it on there so we can fund the position. And then this is also for the assistant town accountant position to put that on the personnel administration plan. So once that is voted, we can go ahead and fund it. And then also I can have Chief join in also to change the police lieutenant position from exempt to non-exempt, just based on the recommendation that we got from our town council that position should be non-exempt based on the duties of that position, not only doing administrative work, but police work as well.
So just to be clear, in case there's anybody, out watching this, so they understand what exempt versus non-exempt means. So the lieutenant is a command position that would be the right-hand person to the chief, becoming non-exempt. So there are specific things under the Fair Labor Standards Act that define what is exempt and what is non-exempt. And we don't have a lot of choice in this, but for certain reasons, that position had been classified as exempt. Within the duties that the lieutenant is performing, our town council is advising that we classify this as a non-exempt position, which means that if this position works more than 40 hours, that we would have to pay them overtime. The flip side is if it's an exempt position and then later is determined that it should have been non-exempt and this person's been working overtime, the town could be liable for triple that pay or treble damages. So this, by moving to non-exempt, that does not move the position into the union. It's still a non-union position, and it does not change the educational benefits for this position. This person, the lieutenant, is already getting educational benefits. It does not change that whatsoever. It just makes us compliant with the Fair Labor Standards Act, or FLSA, and that's the intention of this. Anything I missed, Chief?
I think Mike did a good job of explaining it. This came to fruition. We filled the position in May, and I looked at what the position does and the amount of police work that is still involved and not just being only administrative. Was a little, I don't want to use the word scared, but I want to get another opinion. I went to the town attorney with it. And we, putting, as Mike said, the FSLA laws into it, not making sure we're not going to have to pay triple damages if we're doing it wrong. There is quite a bit of police work that's not administrative, that this position does. And I thought it was important that we, did it the right way. So we weren't on the hook later on. Attorney Fair gave an opinion of various, in that regard, how it should be non-exempt. So that's why we're here now.
Okay, sounds good. I have no idea who's here and who isn't. Is there anyone from the personnel board on the Zoom? No? Okay. Okay. Is there any further discussion or questions? All right, I move to recommend Article 12, amend the FY 2024 personnel plan, the classification and compensation schedule. There are no financial implications to this.
Second.
Any further discussion?
One thing we would do with this is we would change the order of this so that this article appeared before either the local transit operator article or the assistant town accountant, so that at least people could know what they're voting funding for. So we at least put it on the plan first.
So what we'll do, I'd like to do is after we get through everything, then we'll manage the order and then we'll vote to change the order. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
You don't have to vote to change it. You just vote to close it. Because we can set the order or whatever we want.
True, because we can change the order anytime we want, all the way up. Okay, but let's still reorder it tonight. We don't have to vote it, but let's make sure we're all in agreement. Put it in the order that we like it.
Fair
If we
enough.
change it later, we change it later. Thank you. Okay, what's the next one you'd like to
Oh,
do?
we have to vote on this.
Oh, right, I'm sorry. All in favor? What say US?
Aye.
Priya,
Sundaram, I.
Dave,
Karen and I.
and Hilbert, I. Awesome. All right.
So we have the acting fire chief here, which is, if he is. And the next article I'd propose doing is Article 6, replacement of the fire department tender 65. And at this point, last I checked in with Captain Gray and Captain Malinowski, it looked like we had a very slim chance of getting the FEMA grant for this tanker. So I think it's best that we move forward, but I'd like to give Captain Gray a chance to speak to you and to answer any questions that you as a board might have on this article.
Okay. Sean, you have the floor. Sean?
He's unmuted. No, he just muted himself.
While he's getting ready to speak, I'll just start talking to it a little bit, and then Sean, just jump in whenever you're ready. So basically, this went to town meeting last year. I recommended that you pass over this article. You did, because it looked like we were in a good position for the FEMA federal funding to get over $500,000 in grant funding. And so the town made I think the right move in passing that over at this point. We're in a much better position than we were, the last time they went through this grant funding. We're better positioned because the vehicles are a little bit older. The folks who have worked on this, Sean and Jason, have done a dynamite job in setting this up. But at this point, FEMA is almost out of funding, for these grant programs. So it looks like that we have almost no chance of getting that. In addition to that, next year, so we just received a new fire truck. So next time we come up, if we would apply for this later, we would actually be in a worse position, because part of the metrics that they use in, how old is your equipment? What kind of shape are you in? Well, we're going to be in better shape next time we go through this. So we would have a worse chance probably than they had last year when they didn't get to any final, step like they're at now. So I think that it's probably smart. And again, Sean, jump in whenever you're ready, but I think it's smart to go forward with the 532,000, which would be bonding. So it wouldn't affect the current tax rate, because what they need to be able to place the vehicle, to put in an order for this vehicle, is they need to have a funding mechanism. This would be the funding mechanism, but we wouldn't go for bonding until we had the truck, which would be in a future fiscal year. So just to emphasize, it would not affect FY24 tax rate on property taxes.
And Mike, we can also now sell the other, the other fire truck that we don't.
So what they would be doing is either trading in or selling the hose wagon.
Yeah.
And I believe that I heard Sean say at the FinCom meeting last week that they thought they could get a trade in of about
I
16.
think Sean is now on video.
He is.
Sean. You need to check your microphone. What is your microphone feed, Sean?
Well, he's checking on that. I believe they thought they were going to be able to get $16,000 trade in on it.
1.6 or 6? What did you say?
16,000. But
Boy, think about driving that's a lot.
but they may be able to sell it by a number of other mechanisms, which may be bring in more than that, but they won't know until they get to the point. But there is some turn in value of the hose
Hear
wagon.
Sean. Nope, we can't hear Sean.
Oh, Sean, bummer.
Hold on.
Anyone read lips? No.
So Sean, are you using Zoom? You're using Zoom. So look at your microphone. Does the green thing go up as you're using it? And so I think you're using the wrong microphone. So click the little up arrow next to the microphone and then pick the microphone that you think you should be using.
I'm curious, if you click ours, what does it do?
Hold
I
on.
didn't know we could do this before.
Nope. It's
Oh,
when
look
you're
at
on
that.
Zoom.
I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah. So basically, just to keep filling in here, so there's been, at prior town meetings, there's been, I believe it's $28,000 appropriated already towards this. That would go towards the total purchase of this. So that's why the vehicle price on it is $560,000. There's already been $28,000 allocated towards that. So that's why they're asking for $532,000. The other important thing here, in bringing this forward now, is that once they make the order, that locks in the price. So they feel confident that they can lock in that price at $560,000. Whereas if they wait for a year or so to get it, that price is just going to go up.
Okay.
So you probably have all the information.
There we go. We got
There
you,
we go.
Sean.
It is.
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay, so I don't know how much you could do that and listen. Mike did a really great job just presenting the numbers, the financials, you know, where the money's coming from, where it's been, where it's going. Maybe you could speak, Sean, a little bit more about how this truck is used and just explain why you need a new truck.
Yeah, the additional of the tanker pretty much fits into our scheme right now. We only have one. And over the last several years, the use of the hose wagon has gone to the wayside, and most towns where they call us use a tanker. So the time that our tanker is gone on mutual aid, which over the last like 3 years has increased exponentially, the town's left with basically no coverage for water. So the idea over the last few years was talking about moving the hose wagon off to the side and replacing with a second tanker. That way we always have a major water source with us going on the call, no matter what. If we're already tied up out of town, there's always going to be a truck here and vice versa. Yeah.
Here's a crazy question, and I don't even know if you can answer it. I'm thinking about homeowners insurance and the fact that we don't have town water and hydrants impacts that. Does having an extra truck help people with insurance, or it just doesn't matter?
It depends. We'd have to look into it. There's a lot of factors that play into that.
I didn't know if the town got a different, I vaguely remember long ago that if the town has certain
ISO
something.
rating.
ISO
they-
ratings.
Town has certain
it can help Bring
amenities,
your home
yeah.
insurance down.
Yeah,
This is from years ago, so.
no, our rating still exists. The unfortunate thing is our rating also exists that we still have a ladder truck.
Oh.
So
So might not want to pick that rock up, is what you're saying.
correct. Yeah, it's an avenue depending upon how you want to travel down. If you want to get it reevaluated, it could go up and down. It's unknown right now because
Okay.
due to stuff on the books that we kind of don't have right now.
Okay, I was just
Yeah,
thinking,
'cause-
is it another way to say that taxpayers, not only are you better protected, but it might be financially.
No, so I actually went to the fire station and we learned that with Paddock Estates, we no longer have a fire ladder. And so this is our first multifamily, like high rise. And so we are actually at a liability because we cannot bring people off of that. And I think Sean would agree with that, but I think if we fund this tanker, that's like a small start, but I really do believe that as we have more high rise or multi-level, multifamily units, it would be in Boxboro's ethical interest and I say ethical, not financial, but ethical interest to have a ladder truck again, because we need to bring people off of the 4th, 3rd, and other floors. And even with the Leverett House fire, we could have had people enter from the top and prevent a lot of damage, or I can't speak post haste, but there's a lot of advantage that we would have had from being able to put water from the top of the ladder down into Leverett House and prevent a lot of that damage. And so it's not cheap, like really, because it's like, do you really want to pay for a car that says like, or a child care seat where it's like, I really don't want to spend more money, but I would never want to be in the position of, I wish I spent X more dollars to say I would not have my child here, or I would not have my neighbor here. And those are the types of things, the questions that we really should be asking, rather than just saying, do we need these ladder trucks? Do we need these other things?
Mhm.
And that's just
So,
my opinion.
okay, so what we have right now is that the chief, the previous chief and now the acting, current acting chief has brought this forward to us.
Yep.
So I want to kind of bring it back to that. So Sean, this was a decision that was made to get a tanker. What I'm hearing from Wes is that perhaps we need to think about a ladder truck sooner than later. Is that fair, Wes?
And this is a derivative of Sean Gray and the people at the fire station too. Yeah.
Sure.
It's not my idea. I don't just go,
No,
hey guys,
I'm
we
just-
need a
you're
ladder
bringing
truck.
more. No, Wes, you're bringing it to
Yeah.
the board's attention, which I think is important, and I picked up the rope by asking the question. But let's get back to Article 6. So we are
I think
looking
this
at.
tanker is important.
And the tankers, yes. All right. Are there any further questions for the chief right now? No, I know you've come before us a couple of times, come before town meeting, a couple of times. Like I said, we've already appropriated money, we've had discussions about it, so now it's just time to bring it home, is really what it comes down to. Okay, I can't see, are there any hands up? Are we all good? Okay, good. All right, I move to recommend Article 6, replacement of the fire department tender 65, the tanker,
Second.
by bonding $532,000. All right, what did I do wrong?
No, I said second.
Second.
Oh, I thought you said, wait a minute. I'm like, oh God, what?
No, I said
What?
second.
Okay, good. Yay, yay.
But I
Okay.
appreciate your tenacity of self-reflection.
I'm relentless. All right, is there any further discussion?
Side
All
note,
right.
relentless.com actually brings you to amazon.com.
All right,
Challenge
let's vote this. All in favor, please say aye. What say you, Wes?
Folks, I
Priya,
Sundaram, I.
Dave, Hilbert, aye. Kirby, you okay? Can anybody, Wes, can you hear that?
can hear it.
Okay, well, it sounds like, first I thought popcorn popping, and I don't know what it sounds like now. Okay, congratulations. The select board voted unanimously. I can see, because I have it in front of me, the finance committee also recommended unanimously, so we'll bring it to the town. And we'll still say a few prayers for the FEMA grant. You never know. Someone's gonna get it, why not us? Eternal optimism.
I think the deal was there wasn't enough money left there.
Oh,
Yeah.
they don't do
Uh,
partial funding?
No.
So the next
All right,
article
what are we
is
doing?
7, that's Sergeant Road bond anticipated. Now, your title says repayment, but it's not really repayment. It's paying the interest on the Sergeant Road bond, which is $11,000, which wasn't budgeted for last town meeting. So this is a catch up.
Okay.
That's what it is.
So, yeah, the summary that in 2022, the town voted to purchase, took out a bond, $11,000 covers the budget shortage. Okay. Any other questions for Mike? No other questions? All right, I move to recommend Article 7, Sergeant Road Bond Anticipation Note Payment of Interest, funded with $11,000 from free cash.
Second.
Is there a second? Okay, Wes seconded it. Any further discussion or questions? Alrighty then, all in favor, please say aye. Wes, what say you?
Aye.
Priya,
Sundaram, I.
Dave,
McCarron and I.
Hilberg, aye. Alrighty,
Did FinCom vote this tonight?
FinCom voted unanimously to support this.
awesome.
Thanks.
All right, dual support, wonderful.
The next one is a retired town employee. I think I explained this last time. So basically, this is looking for just over $3,700 from free cash to pay the interest that an employee had to pay upon retirement to get their full retirement. from a mistake the town made about 19 or so years ago. So that's about the size.
So essentially, the first 6 months that the individual was employed,
Correct.
deductions were not withheld. So when that person retired, they couldn't get their full retirement unless they paid it back plus interest.
Correct. So they paid about $6,700, which the principal they should have had deducted. So,
Right.
you know,
They should have paid the principal all along. So
Right.
they're responsible for that.
but they wouldn't have accrued this interest had the town done the correct thing 19 or 20 years ago. So I think that across the board, everyone I've talked to so far feels like we should be making this person whole, at least with the interest, and then it would be kind of a square deal.
Yeah. Any other questions for Mike before we make a motion?
No, I agree.
Okay. Wes, you did? Okay. Okay, then I move to recommend Article 8, retired town employee deductions, reimbursement of interest charged to employee upon retirement to be funded by free cash, $3,740.73.
Second. Oh, sorry.
Oh, Bria got that one. Bria on the spot. All right, any further
It's a fact.
discussion? Again, and I believe this is the right thing to do. We want this employee to be whole. It was a mistake that we made, so. All right, all in favor, please say aye. Wes,
Brooks, aye.
Bria,
Sundaram, I.
Dave,
McKaren and I.
and Hilberg, aye.
Next article is currently number 9. It is to correct a budget oversight from annual town meeting. It's not asking for money, it's just transferring money. So there's $2,500 in supply money that was left over at DPW when we moved the money from there to all the different buildings. So this is just to transfer $2,500 from DPW supply over to police supply. Again, not asking for any additional money.
All right, any other questions from Mike? I do feel like where this is a transfer, does the FinCom have any input on this? And we're just moving line items, but are you comfortable with it?
Yeah, we voted to support it unanimously.
Awesome, thank you. All right, if there are any other further questions, we're good. Then I move to recommend Article 9, fiscal year 2024 interdepartmental operating budget transfer, $2,500 to be transferred from the DPW to the police.
Second.
Awesome. All right, any further discussion or questions? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Wes,
Brooks, aye.
Priya,
Sundaram, I.
Dave,
McKaren and I.
awesome, Hilberg, aye. Okay, check.
Current article number 10 is Water Resources Committee looking to move money from 2 former articles from the 2019 annual town meeting. In 2019, there were Articles 17 and 18 totaling $30,000. It's looking to move that money forward in a cleaner fashion. So they're not looking for any further appropriation. It doesn't increase tax rate or anything like that. It's just moving that money so it's Water Resources Committee can use it for the development of town-wide water resource plan.
So effectively repurposing a specific Water Resource Committee, which was specifically scoped to west of 495 to now just being total town and using that money that was
Correct.
previously appropriated.
And Les Fox, the chair of the Water Resources Committee, is on Zoom if you have any questions for him or if he has anything to add for you.
So I have one little thing, and that's underneath all the other articles next to the money, it kind of said where it's coming from. Can you put something up there about it being transferred, that there's no new appropriation? Because when you look at that.
Or I would say repurposed. I would say that we're asking to reallocate or repurpose, because that's what the motion at town meeting will be, is to repurpose, because these were specific warrant articles dedicating it to west of town, like west of 495, and now we're looking to reallocate it to the rest of the town.
We can pull some of the language right from the first sentence of the summary.
Yep.
Repurpose Article 17 and 18 of the 2019 ATM. Put that right up there with the funding.
Les, do you want to jump in and just kind of, add to this, bring the board up to speed on what's going on and let us know if the Water Resources Committee has voted it?
Yes, I assume you all can hear me. Water Resources Committee voted unanimously to bring this article forward. The articles that are being used to fund this were originally conceived as part of an effort to begin this, what is evolving into a long-range plan. But we were faced with a bigger task than we understood at the time. So we did not do much on the line of attack that we had initially taken, but would like to concentrate on developing this plan. Basically by going out and hiring expert advice, a consultancy to advise us on developing a plan. The way the town meeting did this for a similar article was to ask town meeting to modify its motion or modify its action or amend its action of a prior meeting. I'll leave it to council to advise on council and Mike on how you want to do this, but the funding is coming from two existing articles. One argument I made at the beginning was that since the original articles had the or take any other action language, I actually don't believe you're required to do this, but I talked to Maria and others about this, and we all agree that this is a cleaner way to do it, to make it easier to track, be more transparent what's going on. So we thought this was a better way to go.
Okay. Any other questions?
So no funding is required, no new funding, no free cash will be expended.
Yeah, we're just, like we said, reallocating. Perfect. Okay, and no, we're good?
Yeah.
All right.
So I do have one comment,
Sure.
just before we go to the vote.
Sure.
I really think that this is important, not just because it's reallocate, like already taking funds approved, but I really think, and as the United States sees, is PFAS is a huge contaminant of water. And so I really think that this is going to be important, not just for the 1%ers or actually the 45% of our town, which is west of the population base, west of 495, but it will help everybody in town. And I really hope that people can support it.
So since you brought that up, Wes,
Yep.
Dave and I were actually talking about it because I tested my well just because I had an opportunity. I was horrified how expensive it was. And I did share the results with Jim Grippy, the Sugar Board of Health, just to have a marker at that end of Hill Road. It would be amazing, and this is probably for less. Are there any grant monies out there to provide testing for people?
There were public funding and I got it. No. So I actually got it paid for free by the state.
Oh, come on.
But it had to be approved, so it's public information, and so you'll see mine is clear. And so if you look at my address,
because that would be something that would be great.
no, because if you came to a previous town meeting, they had the DEP program that helped to bring in,
Right.
and I got mine tested because of that. And I was like, let me sign up for that because I want to get all the testing. Like I've tested it myself, and so we literally have really good water in this one spot. And so they said, I don't know how you have this. It's not normal for your area.
Is that over? Or can we remind people who maybe didn't attend that part of that town meeting, how they could take advantage of the?
They're re-upping it, but there's a there's a federal government shutdown, which then feeds these child programs.
And to follow up on that, and less than on this, we kind of did 2020 to 2021. They, I forget which company came in, but they did free well testing, but it was only for a certain amount of people.
It was Mass DEP. It was Mass DEP.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I guess all I'm asking is less. I would make sure less, if that's something we could bring back, remind people if there's other opportunities, that would be great. That's all I'm saying. That was my other question is there a way to find funding sources for testing today in 2023?
And then not sure I heard Chris's question. Are you asking, are there other funding sources to help people get their well tested or something?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not sure at this time. I could look into that. As Wes said, DEP came in, but they had a program to support testing, free testing for up to 40 wells in town for PFAS. PFAS testing is much more expensive than the run-of-the-mill testing that you would ordinarily do as a homeowner. It's in the range of $300 to $400, maybe $500, depending. So not everyone wanted to jump on and pay for that out of their own pocket. But a number of people, I think the whole wad was spent to testing 40 wells in town. Wes, I'm glad to hear yours was one of them, and it was clean.
I was actually initially denied. And so I was initially
Okay.
denied, and I was about to sign up for my own testing. And then they said, hey, can we test it? But you have to sign this agreement.
Okay.
I don't want to
Good.
go down that path because we are talking about this article. Let's bring this up again though, because 40 wells, I mean, if it was scattered across the town, if it's first come, first served, that might not give us the information we actually need, which would be.
That wasn't.
It
It was
wasn't.
where they found
Okay.
PFAS, and then they drilled nearby there for
Okay,
people that
awesome.
volunteered.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay, well, anyway,
just-
that's kind of, it's only because the PFAS came up, it was an opportunity for me to say, hey, let's look into something for the future. So we'll talk about that offline less. And
Yeah.
in the meantime, let's get back to this one.
Yeah, public education about well maintenance and testing is a big deal, and we're going to be putting a lot of effort into that. Just for information, about half of the households or dwellings, I'll say, in town are on private wells, for which there is virtually no regulation or requirement that any testing be done except what the bank requires when you sell the property. The other half of the town is on public water supplies, which are heavily regulated by DEP and must be tested regularly. So that's just something to keep in mind about people's general awareness of how good their water is. Half of them have no clue.
Yeah, to be honest, as of right now, unless Foxborough, and I believe the Board of Health might be moving in this direction, you don't have to test to sell. It's at the buyer's prerogative, and so far I've never had a loan denied over well testing unless it's a specific well. loan.
Right.
So, yeah, you're totally right. People should be educated on who, why, and how. Okay. Any further discussion about Article 10? All right. Oh, is there one? I'm sorry. You gotta yell. Who is it?
Cindy.
Cindy. I can usually tell by the shape of people.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to mention that the planning board was very much actually part of this request for this study comes from planning board initiative. I appreciate that the Water Resources Committee has taken it up, and I guess they're preparing a scope of work, which planning board will be providing input on. I just want to mention that planning board is trying to get baseline analyses for both this and the traffic in town, which is sort of the impetus for the original, the article that you saw earlier tonight about getting started on a traffic study. The planning board feels that both water and traffic studies are critical importance to get a baseline so that we can understand how future development or non-development is going to impact all those resources. So I just want to call to your attention that, both of these are critical studies. Appreciate that the WRC is advancing this one, and it's fairly comprehensive, the scope of work they're putting out to get a lot of questions answered. And we're really trying to do a parallel thing with the traffic study. So I'm just trying to point out that, both of these are pretty critical to town. So I just want you folks to understand where we're all coming from on that. And I appreciate Les's work and the Water Resources Committee work on getting the scope together for this, but we're also trying to do it for the traffic, which is why that earlier article was presented. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, Cindy. Yeah, I had some conversations with Mark White some months ago about this, and we're expecting a lot of attention for the planning board to pay to this RFP to make sure we've covered what needs to be covered and give us some good guidance. So very important for what we want to do.
And it's awesome to see the boards and commissions working together. So thank you guys very much for that. That's great. Okay, any further discussion? All right, then I move to recommend Article 10, Water Resources Committee, consultant to initiate development of townwide water resource plan, funded by reallocation of Article 17 and 18 of the 2019 annual town meeting.
Second.
Okay, Wes seconded. Any further discussion? Nope. All righty, all those in favor, please say aye. Wes, what say you?
Folks,
Priya,
Sundaram, aye.
Dave,
McKenna.
Hilberg, aye. Kelly, I love that you're doing this. Way to go. That's just so efficient. All right, well, whoever's idea was, I love that's being done. Thank you.
Okay, the
What's
next
next?
article is number 13, funding for what did you call the position now?
Transit operator.
transit operator. So we'll get the title change, but it's funding for a transit operator. This is asking for $7,200 in free cash to fund the first month of salary and benefits for a transit driver. This is a fully funded position. So we're going to be supplied a vehicle, maintenance, fuel, oil, everything needed in that regard. And then 1 month later, we'll be funded for all salary, benefits, OPEB, pension, everything soup to nuts. And by us taking on the responsibility of hiring and initially, month to month paying the driver, waiting on the reimbursement, we get to establish the route. And this is kind of important. This does not replace, but is in addition to the senior MART van that we already have. This is going to be a route that'll connect us to Acton, to the train station, all the way to Littleton, with an established route 7 days a week. And I forget what it is, but it's early in the morning till evening. And it'll have regular stops. It'll service apartment complexes, condominium complexes. It will service businesses. There are businesses on Codman Hill that have been asking, can they get their employees, from Acton, from the center of Boxborough to their business establishments. So it completes a lot of these things that we would like to do. And having been involved in trying to set up local transit and last mile transportation in communities before, typically these can take 3 to 4 years. There's one that just got underway in the community I came from that I was part of a team working on for about 4 years. So the fact that this has come to us from MRTA, where they've got the grant funding in hand, and if we jump on board, establish our route, it's a home run. And there are a number of people involved in this. So our Alec, our planner, is involved in this. Kim D, our COA coordinator, is involved in this. Rajan is involved in it. I'm involved in it. And we think this is a benefit to the community for being fully funded. So again, this is asking for $7,200 to get the first month started.
Okay, so just to kind of reiterate, this is seed money needed to establish the line item so we can process the first month's expenses until reimbursements come in. So this is basically it's a one-time.
The $7,200 is one time. And also I should mention, this is based on a 3 to 4 year grant that could be renewable after that. The other thing that I forgot to mention is, in addition to the established route, the calls for individual rides will go through MRTA. So we're not going to be dispatching these calls. We have a route, and then there's also individual dispatch. So if somebody has time on the route, the driver, they could actually go pick up somebody at a point, bring them onto the route, or take them, if there's time, to anywhere within a 20-mile radius of their home or their starting point. So it's a great opportunity for the town.
So did I hear you say it's a 3 to 4 year grant?
Yes.
Okay, so essentially what would happen is if the grant money ran out, we would have the option of continuing to fund it, or if it wasn't renewed, when the grant money runs out, if it's not renewed, we would have the option of continuing funding or discontinuing the service.
I think there's essentially yes, but there's a very good chance that we're going to continue. We're only guaranteed for the 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, no, I'm just being clear because we talked about other things that would eventually potentially become carried items, so that I'm just being clear on that.
Right.
But that's amazing. I have a little personal story about this. I was approached by someone. I did put this elderly. There was someone living in a shelter in another part of the state who needed a safe place to live, and I offered her a property they have. But the problem is she didn't have a license in a car. And so we were trying to figure it out. And if this had happened sooner, she could be living in Boxborough. But unfortunately, it wasn't a candidate. So this is going to open up a lot of opportunity for a lot of people. There are definitely a lot of people, with only one car in the family because people are downsizing. This is great. I think this is absolutely amazing. So, and I wish it had happened 6 months ago. So.
And it's interesting. This is a benefit, I think, to people of all ages, all income levels.
Oh, absolutely.
So actually, it's only until this year that it's all ages, all income levels, etc. because before it was only available to the seniors.
Exactly. No, this is just so amazing because it's for everybody, you know, and to go to the train station.
We actually
the
left
environment.
the Mart. We actually left Mart because they kept missing picking our residents up.
Oops.
And one thing, this, this really does cover the entire age spectrum. So seniors who are no longer driving or choose not to drive, this can get them to where they need to
They're
go.
going in two directions.
Appointments, shopping, family visits,
Well,
anything.
I understand,
But
in like the ideal world, it does. But what I'm saying is, in actuality, they kept missing. They kept not picking up. They kept not delivering on their commitments, and that was the issue that we had with them previously, and that's why we decided to leave Mart.
Well, you know what?
And
It's a new
that's-
day. It's a new grant opportunity and maybe a new dedication. So I mean, I certainly wouldn't vote for this based on.
I'm not voting for or against it, but I just want to raise a lot of these
Recommend.
concerns.
Okay.
Like,
When
that's
was
just
that?
my,
How long ago was that?
that was about 2 years ago,
Was it?
or right before COVID, and so it was just like,
So 2019, 2020.
yeah, 2019,
Okay.
2020.
Well,
Really?
we'll stay on top of it and we certainly want people to let us know if this is an issue. And we'll deal with it as it comes. Hopefully it won't happen again.
I'm open to new opportunities, so.
Yeah,
I'm not-
exactly. Yeah. Okay. Any further questions or discussion? All right, I move to recommend Article 13, funding for a transit operator. $72,000 would be allocated from free cash.
Second.
All right, seconded by Priya. Any further discussion or questions?
I just want
I
to point
can't
out that
see any hands. Anybody
72,000 is on par with,
7,200. Did I say thousand? Sorry, 7,200.
yeah. I was gonna be like, oh, God.
$7,200 to be appropriated from free cash. Thanks for
Never
catching.
mind then. Never mind.
I'm tired.
The last article is currently numbered Article number 14. It's a non-binding resolution.
We haven't voted yet. We have to actually.
sorry.
vote through.
That's all
I'm
right.
just looking at the clock,
They were
sorry.
catching my like total,
Be done
but
by 10:30.
no, it's only 10:25. We're almost there. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Wes, what say you?
Folks, I.
Priya,
Sundaram, I.
Dave,
McKenna and I.
Hilbert, aye. Hilbert, that's me. No, we're all getting tired and punchy. Okay, that one passes unanimously.
Okay.
All righty.
And the last one is a non-binding resolution for changing the state flag and seal. This was brought to us by the DEI committee, and Wes, being on that committee, can probably speak better to it than I can.
Wes, would you like to tell us about this and tell everybody?
So this current select board said that it was their imperative to put it on this warrant. The committee is
We
committed,
did?
or
Wes, hold on. What did you say? The current board said it was imperative to put it on this?
this warrant, yes.
I
You
don't know
did.
anything about it being imperative. Sorry, I just don't want to go
Fine.
into record the current select board forced this in any way.
No, you said, I don't see why we don't put this on this agenda, and so, or on
But
this,
that doesn't
this
mean
warrant.
imperative. I said, all right, okay.
Fine. It doesn't,
I'm tired of being
fine.
taken out of context. I'm really tired of that.
I apologize. No, that's
Well,
fine.
imperative is a
I-
pretty strong word. So, okay.
Fine. It can wait. It could not wait. It doesn't really matter.
No.
But
It's
what
on
we
the
have
warrant.
is this
Please
thing.
explain to us. Please present it so we can.
This
vote it.
is a town meeting warrant, mostly a sense of the meeting article about having a change in the town or the state flag and the
Seal.
seal. Yeah. And so effectively what it is they are very sensitive and literally, or that's not, literally is not the best word to use, but it's,
I can just, or you can read what's on the article if that's easier.
I don't really
genuinely,
want
I get it.
to.
I'm punchy
yeah,
too.
You do you, but that's fine. Mainly what it is I think that myself and what this board recognized is that our current state seal, our current state flag are not inclusive, and it is actually very subjective, and that is why, and maybe I'm projecting why we chose to put this article on the fall town meeting. It's a non-binding, it doesn't cost any money, but I think it's important to put forward to say that, you know, we will not stand for subverting and or subjecting Native American rights to our land, and also on top of that, like not subjecting them to what we want to propose. So meaning we are saying that this we can propose, and it is not what I would put for the oh God.
So what I hear you saying is that we want to support the following resolution, and if the town adopted the resolution, it would be sent to support the work of the special commission on the official seal and model of the Commonwealth.
What you just said.
Established by
You
resolve.
said it better than me, and I
So, well,
apologize.
no, I'm reading. I'm not saying it. I'm reading. I got these.
It's
It's very
fine.
easy to read. Well, it's kind of easy to read when I have glasses. My prescriptions. So at any rate, okay. So did the DEI, the
So
committee,
I can convene the committee to present the article and present a presentation. Currently I am the clerk. The chair has gone off to a successful college acceptance, and so
for them,
she was our youngest and literally, yeah, but so
most energetic volunteer. Okay, so I have
yes.
to ask you, based on your initial comments, would you prefer to do this at annual? Would you like to pull it, or would you?
No,
Honestly.
no, I would keep it.
Okay, let's keep it. All right. Did everyone have a chance to read the article?
Yeah, I think one of the things that they were saying is that in the seal, you have the Native American there, and then you have the sword right above his head. So that's could be,
Well, and the words that go along with
and the
seal.
words that go along. So those things could be offensive to
Right.
people. So that's
Right.
some of the
Could
reasons
be.
why they're looking into redoing this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, modeled after Miles Standish's broadsword.
So
A man known
she
for killing
takes
Native
it.
Americans.
She,
Okay. Yeah, it's a little ugly.
she takes peace by the sword. Like that's very controversial.
Gotcha. Okay. All righty. Any further discussion or questions? Anybody on the Zoom have any questions? Well, we did for the other ones. We allowed other people to speak to it, so I'm just making sure everyone's heard. Okay, I move to recommend Article 14, non-binding resolution, changing the state flag and seal. There is no financial
Second.
implication. What, seconded it. Any further discussion or question? All in favor, please say aye. Wes,
Folks,
Priya,
Sundaram, I.
Dave,
McCann and I.
Hilbert, aye. All righty. Okay. What else do we got?
motion to
Uh,
adjourn.
You can close the warrant.
Well, okay, all right,
Oh.
then all right, do I need to, there were a couple.
I will
of-
make a motion to close the
No,
warrant.
hold on.
and-
I
Nope.
received a list of motions. Do I need to actually move to add the warrant articles and remove warrant articles? I've got written motions here, but I just didn't know when to do them. We actually did it, but do
Yeah.
you want me to?
I don't think so. I think as long as you move to
Close the,
accept the article, the warrant with the 3 additions. Actually, it's 4 additions now because you added in the extra one on the assistant, right? Or assistant and accountant. So those 4 articles and then
And financial
pulling the
director.
other 2, right?
Slash.
So I think you could move to close the article as edited and amended this evening with the 4 additions, the 2 subtractions, and the incorporated changes.
So moved. Did you get that, Kelly? Or you can watch the tape. Thank you for staying as long as you did.
second that.
Okay, are you okay with that, Wes? I know you started to make the motion, but.
No, we're
wrapped
golden.
3 together. All right.
Golden.
Any further discussion on closing the warrant as edited and amended? Alrighty then, all those in, what? Oh, I thought someone said something. All those in favor, please say aye. Wes,
Folks,
Priya,
Sundaram, I.
Dave,
McCann and I.
Hilberg, aye. All righty. Next motion, I move to authorize the fall town warrant as presented, subject to any review of town's council and final proofreading for textual and or typographical errors. Do I have to say, fall town warrant as amended?
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna change my thing. I move to authorize.
Second,
fall-
the amended.
All right, perfect.
Yeah,
As edited and amended. Is there a second?
I
Wes-
seconded the amended.
Thank you. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Wes?
Folks, I.
Priya?
Sundaram, I.
Dave?
McKinnon, I.
And Hilbert, aye. Excellent day.
The next motion, I wasn't sure if you typically move to authorize it, the mailing, or if we just do that.
Wes, your institutional knowledge. I don't remember.
So
ever authorizing
typically
it.
that is we request and or enforce the, what do we call them? So we have
Constable.
3 of them.
Yeah, the
The
constable,
Constables.
the constable.
Constables, yeah. So this is the order of, I order the constables to deliver 1, 2, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, there's a
And to
whole
post them
paragraph.
publicly.
Mhm.
Let me see if I can find it quickly.
Thank you. Yeah, probably the fastest way to do it would be right before ATM last year.
No, it's more of like a, okay. I'm looking
I
through my
mean,
email.
I'm just thinking the fastest way to find it is probably March.
So I moved to, or I guess if I'm pulling it off the cuff, and if I have to, it would be moved to authorize the constables to post the meeting or the fall town meeting on October or November 6th. Is it 6th?
6.
And well, because I'm going on vacation till the 5th, but so I will ask them to post it for the 6th and then to distribute it to every registered voter in town.
Second.
I think that's it.
No,
Sure, but
now
let
that you're
me-
saying that,
let
I
me look it
remember
up.
that about the constable. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Alrighty, all those in favor, please say aye. Wes?
Folks, I.
Yeah.
Sundaram, I.
Dave?
McKinnon, I.
And Hilbert, aye. Okay. We are done, you guys. I move to adjourn
Move.
this meeting.
Second.
10:36 PM. Wes second. All those in favor, please say aye. Wes?
Folks, I. This
Yeah.
is the first one
Sundaram,
that
I.
Okay.
we
What's
didn't
that?
actually. So this wasn't the first. This is our first non-reneged motion to adjourn.
Well, let's hope this is the beginning of a good thing. All right, Hilbert guy, Dave, McKinnon, I, Hilbert guy, we're all good. Okay. All right, let's
Thank
go
you,
home.
guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Bye.
hanging in.
Bye, Wes. Good night.
Thanks.
Good night.